I said, I'm not wrecking. Should we miss it? I said, I'm not wrecking this engine.
Stole his caravan one time. Was it your caravan or was it the... I had a wee bike that off Joey and it kept all the body work.
Worst part. We're ready to go?
Yep.
Chilled. Yeah. Happy days. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Comedy Corner. Today, me and Korie spoke at the beginning of the year, or the beginning of this new sort of rebirth podcast, that weren't only going to be looking and chatting to legends and the big names of the sports and whatnot, but proper grassroots big names, legends of the sport as well. People were road racing, it's moulded around these guys, and Korie McGreevy, he's going to introduce them.
Yes, guys, well, I'm delighted, Gareth, that we'll have two old hands of the sport. They've been about Irish racing for probably 40 years now. They've probably forgot more than we've ever seen. They've seen, obviously, the change through racing this whole time, and they've got some brilliant stories. We've already been cracking away about it. We have Trevor Keys and Geoff McMullan. Thank you very much for coming on, guys.
Thanks very much,
Thanks
guys.
very much,
Pleasure.
guys, for having us.
So, guys, what we like to do in these podcasts, we want to start off from the beginning. We'll ask both of you separately. Basically, where did motorbikes come into the power of your lives? Where did it come from you, Trevor, start off with?
As kids, we were dragged. My dad was a big fan from way back. Like, he was going to Enniskillen and hundreds when it was back in the day and different races. And he raced a bit back in the early 70s. So as kids, we were always in the car and away to various road races and short circuits. And it sort of just built gradually, and then you got a motorbike for the fields, and then it was a progression to buy one for the road, and then you bought a racing bike.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you were dragged up before you were dragged to the racing.
Dragged to the racing. Dragged up, yeah.
Dragged to the racing.
And what about you, Geoff? Are you something similar?
Well, going right back to the start, how motorbikes came about. At school, primary school, obviously, everybody was, boys I knocked about was all into fishing and football and all that sort of stuff, where I wasn't, had no interest in any of that at all.
All the boring crap.
Even though there was a river about 200 yards in front of my house and a loch about a mile up the road, but no interest in fishing or football or anything like that at all. And then my eldest brother, Michael, the crack was in the house that Michael was buying a new motorbike, so this motorbike arrived anyway. It was a GT185 Suzuki.
Very nice.
And I was, as I said then, I looked at this thing and, and then of course once there's a motorbike about the house, well normally then there's 4 or 5 of them other fellas that they were knocking about with bikes and all that was done back in the day. And, but one of them anyway, a guy called Eric Black, and he was into the racing. So, I think I was 9 at this point, and the Ulster Grand Prix. And that was the first race these guys. So that, and once I went to that scared the life out of me at the Beers Leap. Back in the day when there was no signs.
Just squealing.
If you don't mind me asking, what year would this have been?
That would have been 75.
75. So this would have been like start of the kind of TZ era.
So TZ, it would have been in.
Yeah.
We were going at that time, and boy, the like he says, where do you see this man McCulloch going, or where do you see this man Heron going? And those names meant absolutely nothing to me. They did on the way home.
Yes.
Yeah.
But probably scared the life out of me. But that was it. I was hooked.
That was your first race.
And
that was the first time that you seen a motorbike.
Yep.
Circling on a track.
So, and then it just progressed from there. Basically, we went to any races Eric would have been going to in the car. Would have been away to Temple, Cardo, whatever, all those sorts of things, and all the short circuits. Like at this point, Michael had a 380 Suzuki and a 550 Suzuki, and him and me headed off. Wet as days, knew the forecast, went Akadui and stood and watched racing all day. Like, we just completely just sucked in with the whole thing.
So, from what I'm hearing from the both of you, you didn't come up any like schoolboy motocross or anything, none of that?
No.
It's interesting to hear that, because obviously it's very different to what me and Gareth were brought up in.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So it's nearly, when we're talking about late 70s, early 80s, it was just an enthusiasm, and it wasn't until you were like nearly at the age to ride them on the road is when you were getting kind of into
That
it.
was the first.
Yeah,
bikes,
well, I had road bikes like a 50cc.
the Honda 90s, the step throughs, and you had them cut to pieces, and you raced through the fields on them, you know, as hard as you could go. And then we got a CZ 175 or 125, and just turned it into a motocrosser and just ploughed through the fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To our heart's content. Yeah.
Back in Seymour Hill.
Yeah, just down your granny used to live. Yeah.
Well, there's a guy I knocked about with at that time called Joe Mulligan, and his dad drove tipper lorries or whatever. But anyway, there was a dump outside Hillsborough Drumlock Dump.
Drumlock, yeah.
And somebody had been there and saying, "Here, boys, do you know what? There's an old Vespa scooter, lad." And he says, "I'd say that old thing is could be got going." So we heads off in Joe's dad's tipper lorry in Elhino, tipped her up, slid the Vespa out over the tail door and brought her home. Seriously, no seat on her now. Brought it home. There was actually a tube of toothpaste, or an empty toothpaste tube in the petrol tank. And we fished it out, put a spark plug in it, and put a petrol in her, had her digging away she went. Well, we had more crack around the field than her than But that was it. As I say, I didn't really ride that much on the roads and road bikes at wee 50 and stuff like that. But motorbikes was alright, but they weren't great for the girls.
No.
You know, so and had like a bit of car then, you know. And how winters was bad then. That said, my first car was a Mini Clubman. It was £90, and as far as I was concerned, that was the job done. That was me on the road. No, but back in the day, because the troubles were still going at that point, you could have dodged about the roads all right, like, and nobody bothered. No MOT or tax or insurance or anything. But there you go. I shouldn't be saying that, but there you go. That's how it was.
My first car was a Mark I Transit van with the chassis legs just rotted out of it, and I was going to do an apprenticeship. I was working for Tommy Baxter's Lagan Valley Steels and got this welded these two legs into it, like, but it wouldn't steer straight.
You would remember my first race transporter.
Do you actually?
Affectionately known as Kilroot.
Kilroot Power Station.
Because the smoke out of it. It was actually a minibus.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was, clean rotten as well, like. But
the rubber mat used to blow back.
That's right. So we're actually going to 4. We had a bad bump on the road, and the two inner cars in the shop. Right. Straight up there. But she was a minibus. We put a couple of sheets of tin on her, blanked a couple of windows out, tucked into the wooden forms, you know, the strips up by each side of her, cut them, turned one round then for the crew, you know, put the legs in the back of her, and away we went.
So then,
but anyway.
Going to, obviously, where you were, up and down fields and running away from the police during the troubles, and to your first race bike, and even the thought of going to get your first race bike, what was going through your heads, you know? Well, was it like, I'm going to race here?
Yes.
And this is the bike I want? Or is it, I'm going to race here and, there's a bike, that'll do?
It was a case of, there's a bike, it's not expensive, that'll do.
Yeah.
And see, when you both started racing, so it was like early 80s, you were both for mid 80s. What was the pricing of bikes and just affordability and running costs and stuff like at the time? Was it, can you just remember?
Well, I think I was working for Farns Construction. I was down at Readyuse, down the back, working in the yard. I think I was getting $23.50 a week.
Right.
Fortune
of money, yeah.
Yeah.
And by the time Jean got her £10 a week, it wasn't much left. And you had to pay your entries and whatnot. So my first bike was £300, and I bought it of Michael McGarity. Michael had actually bought it for his brother, Aidan, to ride. And then Aidan was a big motocrosser, so he was motocrossing. So Mickey says, "That's wee bike's for sale." It was wee MT Aircool 125.
I remember you.
And I went down to Mickey's and bought this wee MT, and that was it. And I bought a set of leathers out of Frank's, Dennis, Ireland.
I remember them as well.
The
Black
shell on the back
of
them, yeah. And it said Ireland across the back of them, and they were in Frank's, and I think I gave 50 quid for them maybe back in the day. Interstate.
There's not a photo of you at Tandragee on it, is
Yeah,
there?
that's right, yeah.
The black and...
The Honda was silver, wasn't it? Had you had silver?
I had a silver one after, I had that one, and then I went on to the wee silver one, which was a 125, and then it was I got it of John Bourne, and it was a wee 200. It was a good wee going motorbike.
You must have started road racing like nearly straight away.
You had to do
Six.
and you had to go and get your wee pink license.
Same.
So you used to go down to Dorothy in the bus.
Aye.
Dorothy.
Dorothy Trimble, she was the timekeeper.
Right.
She was a timekeeper, and if you got Dorothy on a bad day,
You weren't getting a signature.
You weren't getting anywhere.
you had to be nice to Dorothy. So you did, but she was the one that signed your wee license, and then you got your 6 signatures, and then you sent it off to Mr. Steele,
That's right. And that
who
was you.
and then you were lucky if you got your blue license. You were just looking for this blue license back in the post. And I think I did the year, and then my first road race was Cardor.
Right.
At the
That
end
would
of
have
the
been
year.
an eye-opener.
That was
On the
an eye-
125.
On the 125, yeah. That was
Well, mine was, I didn't start to the end of 85. Aubrey had started at the start of 85.
Macaulay.
Aubrey
Yeah,
Macaulay,
Macaulay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, Aubrey had no notion of racing at all, you know. And I had thought, oh, as soon as I get the money, I'm going to buy a racing bike, like I'm going to go racing. So anyway, Aubrey arrived out one, and I was starting to gather. Somebody had said, I think it was actually my schoolmate, him and me was back into the bikes, but I think I bought a pair of boots, or he told me about a pair of boots. He says, here, you're talking about race. I says, I'll buy them. Second-hand boots, like. So anyway, Aubrey had heard about this anyway, and he says, here, boy, would you lend me them boots? And I goes, what do you want them for? He says, I traded around motor in, he says, or whatever it was, he says, they've got a 200 Yamaha. So that was it. And Aubrey says, hey, see, you could give me a hand. So that was that. But I knew, and I was thinking, I was nearly jealous, you know, I was like, fuck, I had no notion of racing, but I'm trying to gather the money up here to get a bike like that. But anyway, my first bike, I was actually going to buy a wee 125 off Davy Beatty. It was a wee 125 TZ Yamaha. There was only 2 years of them, G and an H. But anyway, I was saying to Davy, he says, I'm going to sell that. He was buying the Morbidelli MBA. So, we were to do the deal for that. And I says, right, Davy, what? He says, I wouldn't sell her to you yet. He says, she's given a wee bit of bother. She sees there a couple of times, a new coil on it. And he says, but the mid-anthem was over. We were going to the British Grand Prix, 85. And, no mobiles or anything then, obviously. And I couldn't wait to get home to hear that. He says, if she finishes the mid-anthem, he says, I'll sell her to you. And I goes, right, perfect. I couldn't wait to get home. Went to work on Monday, straight into Davy. Well, did the wee bike finish? She did. I go on a bit, maybe a wee hair rich, but she was good. I said, dead on. I says, right, I'll buy her. I says, I'll buy her. I says, of her child. And it was one of Aubrey's mates. Aubrey ended up getting that bike. Anyway, long story short, my first bike then, I was telling one of the fellas, when I worked in Heister at that time, I was telling a fella, Billy Neal, he called him, and I was saying about this bike and all. He says, here, boy, I know a boy has one of them. So anyway, I got it. So I think mine was 450 quid, 400 or 450 pound. And that was a month's wages then. And maybe more. But anyway, I brings her home. Chassis, 2 wheels and the rest in boxes. And built her up. And then I think I'd done the last 4 short circuits of the year. So I needed another 2 signatures to get the road race license.
Yeah.
So by the time that come through anyway, Dundrod 150 was my first race.
off for it.
Talk about picking a handy one. Now, my management crew wouldn't have been, you know, where they should have talked about.
Mine was the same, funny enough. My first road race was the Grand Prix.
So-
Scared the shit out of me.
Would that have been the culture of the time? Basically, because compared to modern day stuff and even what I was doing, obviously we raced for years before we even went to short circuits. Raced for short circuits for years. In Gareth's case, you went road racing or maybe went British Championships. But you guys are basically saying you bought a bike and by the end of the year you are road racing.
Yeah.
Was that just the way
That was the norm.
That was the
You had
norm.
to do 6 short circuits.
Yeah.
You had to finish 6
Yeah.
races. And
At
you
a
had 6
percentage of
signatures.
the
And they
time.
had to be like a percentage. I know the international license then.
Yeah.
You had to put in like say on the road races.
Yeah.
I think was it 4 or 6
Yeah.
of your best results. You
Yeah.
had to be within the time of the winner's speed.
110%
to get an
or something it was.
international
And
license.
was
then.
was road racing, the goal for Paris? Was it always one to go road racing?
It was racing in general because everybody did everything then,
Yeah.
Like we were doing short circuits and then roads and then
Yeah.
you were just flat out from every weekend. There was that much going on, Once you got Easter Saturday, Easter Monday, then it was the road racing. And I remember doing you'd have went to Cookstown and then the Banbridge Club had the May Day Monday one, you know. And then
It seemed like there's a lot more races. Like there's something on every weekend.
every
Aye.
week, yeah, you were
like,
flat out. And then down south, like the whole of July, you would have spent in the south, basically. You know, from Skerries, all the southern races were on, and you were just
in the earlier days, there was really only Skerries, 4, and
Yeah.
Lochshinny. There was only the 3. You had your 6 roads, not including the Northwest and the Ulster. But I don't think there was actually that many short circuits here.
Yes.
If, you know, so it was fairly well
It was like-
spread out.
yeah.
You had short circuits at the beginning of the year and then the end of the year nearly. And then in between.
You'd have had
was
a
road.
few,
a few in between.
but-
Yeah.
Do you remember at the start how many kind of races you'd be doing a year?
I have a book in the house, and all the results are in it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's all the gearing and whatnot's done in jet and how much it costs. It's in like a big diary that I did. So I must have a look at it sometime.
After
Just
the
to
tax
see.
man, was
But
it?
you'd have been doing nine road races anyway.
Yeah.
9 road
You
races.
just said 9 road races. At the start, like, until
Yeah.
you got an international license, and then you're doing obviously the Northwest and Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But
And so, is he going for like, so you're mid kind of 80s. Would you see in terms of like, you see today, people are throwing tires at it, they're going, you know,
Oh, set
putting
of tires
suspension
would
into
have-
stuff.
would have-
Would you
set of
just-
tires would have done you
whatever
a
you
year.
just
Yeah,
bought, set
that
of
was
tires,
it.
and that was used,
That was it.
and then just entering a bit of fuel in,
Yeah.
and that's just the
That
way
was
that
it,
you went
yeah.
motorbike racing.
You probably went through more pistons than they did tires.
aye,
Yeah, you would have done,
clutches
yeah,
and
clutches
that
and
sort of
stuff, yeah. And
So
the
it's just more
TT100s, stick them on and go racing, and that was it. And then when you sort of, everybody then went to 350. Everybody bought a 350, and they would have eaten tires. I remember actually seeing one of your 350 one day at a race, and the
I thought
tire
you'd
was,
remember that. I got a big slide. That was Killer Lane.
that's right.
I got a big slide, and I thought to myself, something right there. And I got a knob, and I thought, no, I'll pull it in. Actually, the centre, the slick, was completely gone right down to the kitten.
Is that right?
On a 350.
350.
That's sick.
And would that have been a tire you've had on for
Oh, well,
all
that
that
one,
year?
that
Like,
one. I maybe got 2 seasons out of
I
that
couldn't
one.
even imagine there was even a thing called tire warmers or anything then.
Oh, not a
no,
chance.
not a
No.
chance. We never used tire warmers to flip me.
But you know what the thing was too? This is, you're talking about you fellas motocross and all. So you had a wee bit of racecraft, you know, even though it's not on tarmac.
Yeah.
I had one day at Kirkiston.
A Wednesday.
I'm talking about tires this wee 125, and it was to get a back tire. I was putting it, needed a new rear tire. There was no tire on it, but there's 2 front tires there was a spare front tire come with it. So I was this practice day at Kirkiston, and I actually went with 2 front tires.
No way.
On her, and I thought, and do you know, it's funny the things that sticks in your head. I remember going and thinking, oh, man, I'm actually riding around a circuit here. Like. You know, and Royston Keane, remember him coming
Remember
up,
in the
passed up the back
straight,
reverse cylinder
500,
Yamaha.
yeah.
And Nigel Hale was there that day too. But anyway, what I was going to say was, you see, whenever we went racing, you were lining up with Robert Dunlop and Joey Dunlop and all these, Brian Reid and all your top men. Like,
And you got 2 laps before your race.
I mean, 2
2 warm-up laps.
So you got,
At a road
2
race.
laps and that was it. You were gone, you know, you were heading down the road.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No,
there was no
Oh my God.
practice.
No,
There was
no,
no-
no,
that
no,
was
no.
it. There's nothing. You just
No?
lined up where they put you on the grid.
Really?
Closed the roads
Yeah.
at 12 o'clock. I was always, roads closed at 12, racing at 1.
One.
What,
Yeah.
what was that, like heats or was
No,
it just
no, there was
literally?
the road
You
racing
just
now.
went to Tandragee. You got your bag scrutineered. You went out onto the grid. You got 2 laps. You lined up, and then the flag dropped.
Jesus
No, is
Christ.
that the way you went?
And
Jesus
what about
Christ, that
learning the
was
track?
thrown
You
into
just
the deep
rode.
end.
You went round. You'd have seen the boys heading round in the vans, you know, or somebody was said, right, I'm going round such and such around Cookstown. I remember going to Cookstown thinking, holy. The old Cookstown, the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
in
And there were long
Stewartstown.
circuits, like, you had a lot
6
to
and
learn.
7 miles, you know.
That was like the Sherry Grim
Yeah.
circuit, yes.
Yeah.
And you were going, holy, how am I going to learn this, you know? And you were only 2 laps.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
And then you were going around during the week in the van, or you got a car. Or if you were lucky enough, you got Davy Wood.
Or somebody to take you round.
Davy Wood was good at it, like, but he drove flat out. Like, you were sitting in the car going, holy.
You weren't learning anything, you were holding
You were
on.
you were braking. The bulkhead was nearly out through the front of it.
But that's how it was.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
you did. Just,
So
yeah.
you only know what you know.
Even,
You know what I mean?
even the
So
likes of the
we didn't know.
TT,
Yeah,
same thing.
TT, like, whenever we went there.
It was a bus.
At the start, like, there was
Right.
no...
a big double-decker bus that took us round. You had to do a lap in the double-decker bus. I think half of us were sleeping when we got
Aye,
to Union
well,
Mills.
I would say so. It would take about 3 hours to get around.
No, that was it.
That was it, yeah.
The first year I went, or whatever, and there was no videos or
Nothing.
nothing.
No,
no
nothing. You're just going
PlayStations
blind.
Going,
Yeah.
You had an interesting story, haven't you, about learning the TT?
Joy. Oh, we had a good one day. We were in the paddock one day, I don't know if you remember, and then Philip came around in the Turkington's Passat, and we went down Bray Hill, and Johnny Ray was coming out of the shop.
That's right.
And then Philip stopped, and he says, "You come around, slap Johnny?" And Johnny said, "Hey," jumped in. You were in the front, and I was in the back with Johnny Ray, and we headed out the road in the Passat, and Johnny says, "Just watch the view. Don't be listening," because Philip was up the curbs and stuff. And
We were going round. Johnny was for taking us round, wasn't he? And we were going round anyway, and he said, "Look, they just give us the basics." And then Philip was in as well. And I'm picking this flat here, Johnny. What are you doing? And him and me was looking on just like,
What's the point?
couldn't see anything. You were flipping.
But
And so how long did it take for the Perries before you were going, doing the likes of the TT, and your like international races after you started racing? Was it a couple of years?
Well,
or was it?
I think I got it. Well, I think the Northwest was my first international one.
Yeah, because
And
I brought
think that was
125s in.
Yeah.
The 125 class come back. Because they
Right.
raced 125s at the TT in the 60s.
Yeah.
But that class, it was dropped. But then the 125 class was getting popular everywhere. Obviously, Honda was producing a lot of bikes, and they brought the 125 class back then. So the first year that run was 89.
Yeah.
And with Perry's at that, were you?
I was at it, but I hadn't a 125 and I couldn't get one. So I didn't do the first year. And then I was riding an MBA for DDBD.
Right, okay.
And that was my first year then at the
Factory.
TT.
Factory.
Um,
Would that have
Interesting
been, what,
bike.
1990, was it? Or?
that was 90.
90,
90.
yeah. That'd have been mine as well, because I had Joey's 89 bike.
Is 125.
Yeah.
And what was your first experience knocking down Bray Hill then on the 125s? Was it
Well,
what you thought,
that
or-
sort of bit, well, I'd been to TT and watched the TT and all that, but actually to go down and it was like, this place is like you were just totally
Oh, you
lost.
hadn't-
Totally lost. But
Yeah.
the amount of concentration you actually need, it was an eye-opener, I can tell you. But my first year, the thing broke down more times, and then in the race, that was actually, because we just had it built, we never did even time to get it out to Jerby or anything to get it to run. But there was actually one of the earth wires wasn't on right,
Right.
and gone down Bray Hill, it was on one, because they were a twin,
Right, okay, yeah.
went on to one cylinder, that was it.
That's sick.
And then 91 then, I was back with a Honda. With a bit of trouble with it as well. I was telling you earlier about the carburation, the changing the jet in it.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't me. And actually bent the float level. So the carburetor wasn't even getting properly filled. So it was like running out of fuel when you got it into top gear, whatever. But anyway, crashed it at Union Mills and that.
Because you were pushing to try and compensate for the lack of speed. Of the
Aye.
thing.
But
These
so
things
we're
happen.
lucky to get away with that one.
Yeah.
But yes, that was sort of
Yeah.
the time frame
Aye,
between.
so
But we done all the roads.
Aye, so you had a bit of an apprenticeship before you even went to that.
Yeah.
For the both of you then.
Do you know what? Talking about that the way it is now, newsboys were probably a bit taken aback if that's how it was done. But do you know what it was then? You took your time more at it, I think.
Yeah.
Was there less pressure, do you think?
Yeah,
'Cause-
oh, definitely.
A lot less pressure than what people are feeling now, obviously, because
There's
yeah.
no
It was a wee-
PSB, right?
Well, we're
or-
sort of
Aye,
just, we
not
were
even-
doing it
We
on
were
our
just,
own.
you're on
Yeah,
your own,
sort
like,
of-
you know, and
I only had
there was a
yourself
bit
to
of
answer
crack,
to.
you know, and it was
And
just,
you know, obviously racing's always been expensive, but it was obviously a bit more affordable, so it wasn't like you were busting the bank to go
Yeah.
racing. So the
Exactly.
pressure
Exactly.
from that as well. Like,
Remortgaging the house or
Yeah,
anything
and 20
like
grand
people
quite a
do
week,
now.
isn't
Like,
it?
well, I don't know as well.
but every penny, that said, every penny went into it.
Yes, yeah. You're still
every-
making the same sacrifices, like, and I'm sure everyone around you is still making
Yeah.
the same sacrifices.
And basically, whatever money, there was no credit cards or
No.
none of them then,
Nobody
you
would
know
have
what I
given us
mean?
one.
So that's whatever you had in your pocket. And I
Yeah.
can remember coming home from, we're out with Skerries, and a little Volkswagen petrol van. I remember stopping and taking whatever fuel was left in the tank
bike.
of the bike and putting it into the gallon measure
home.
to put into
Tell me
the,
this.
to get into the van to get home.
Was prize money good back then?
I don't know, for never one was. It actually was.
it was
Yeah.
good money, yeah.
You know,
Could have ran the show, like,
Aye.
Yeah.
if you were
Yeah.
competitive.
If you
Oh,
were at the
definitely,
point
yeah.
in, you could have, you could have got yourself a good wee payday, you know, because then you had guys riding 250, 350 and early 600s, and then there was an open race, you know, so guys were doing all right.
I remember one time, and this would have been like in the 90s, and the grand final, I think it's Skerries, was €1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
€1,000,
what, like, it's a lot
which
now.
is-
Normally, 30 years ago, like.
You know, so
It was good.
There's one you touched upon there. Riders riding multiple bikes. That's something you don't see as much these days.
Yeah.
You'd see maybe 2, at the most 3, but you're talking about people riding consistently
Guys
5
used
bikes, like.
4 and 5 like well, there was Joey was the one of the bigger examples, 125, 250, 600 and superbike, you know, all in the one, you know, in and out all day, like, you know. I think my most was 125 and 350.
350.
Yeah.
If you had enough money to put an entry in for the big race at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah.
But that was what you were saying too, you know, about back then, like we were 125.
Yeah.
For the first couple of, and then I think in the second year, I remember getting a ride on Ivan Kirk's 350. And like a 350 was a big bike to us then. And I remember I thought, okay, I'm going to buy one of them. I'm going to get one of these 350s. So bought a 350 and I went, and that was in 87.
Yeah.
So I'd ride, but I'd done that 86 sort of the 125, and then 125 and 350 the following year. But as Trevor will tell you, if you're going to Auchadere or go to Kirkus or any of those short circuits, there was 3 heats.
What has been the biggest class, the 350?
350. 125 would have had 2 heats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you qualified,
Sometimes
you thought,
3.
Yeah.
But if you take, I remember one time somebody had said that there was over 100 entries for Kirkiston on the Easter Monday. 100.
100?
Over 100. There was actually reserves.
Yeah.
So I think it was 36 on the grid then. So if you had 3 heats,
Yeah.
So
you
if you
had,
had
to, you
100
had to
people-
finish on the top 12.
So you said if there are 100 people, only 36 in the grid.
Only 36.
Right, to make for the final
For the
race.
final.
The rest guys going home then?
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
there would be a B race or a non-qualifier.
No, or something like that.
If had enough time in the day, like, but mostly like if you qualified, you thought you'd won it. Like, there was
So you
some
qualified, you had to be
fake-
some goer just to qualify.
As
Never
soon
mind.
as you signed on, Korie, you were getting the programme run back to the band. see what heat you were in?
Yes. And
Johnny
see-
Red. Not a chance.
You could count 10 guys down and think,
What
well,
heat are you in? He just says, I'm on the side. Oh, you tell me. Or whatever, you know. And that's the way it was.
yeah.
So you,
But it just-
like 100 bikes to qualify for the one race.
Yeah, for
Like,
36
you're-
spots.
And like, there
You're
was,
lucky to
there was
get 100.
reserves on
For
that.
all classes?
Yeah, and even if you got you used to get your letter back or your numbers, they used to send you a letter and a piece of paper and your numbers, and then you look to see was there a reserve, first reserve or second, and then if you weren't a reserve, you right, I'm getting out. But sometimes you'd look at a program and there may be 6 or 7 guys reserves, so they had to wait for somebody not to turn up.
And how did you
on
end
the
up being
day.
a reserve if you had late entry, was it? Or
I
was it
suppose
if you're a newbie?
the first, probably the first 90 come in so or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
for your.
Yeah, if you're in
And
early
then they're
enough.
trying to say,
maybe,
right, well, that's the next entry in's first reserve, the next one's second reserve.
Here's a
whatever,
good
you know.
entry, or a good question then. How did you decide what number? Was it just potluck? Whatever
Potluck,
they
yeah,
give you?
there was none
You
of
were
this.
changing numbers every. Ernie Coach made a fortune.
flat out.
He changed the
Really
numbers.
down.
That was the best thing ever come in, where they just said,
Yeah,
right,
that was
that's
it.
your number for the
Yeah.
year.
So you've been changing your number
Every week.
Every week.
You get to be one number on Easter Saturday and a different one on
And
Monday.
when did you find out? Just when you opened the programme? What number you were?
They used to send you, whenever you put your entry and then you got your wee slip of paper back, usually with your 2 paddock passes, your van
That's
pass,
your
that's
Yeah.
what they give you, and then number whatever. Say you're number 6, and then if you went to Monday, you were number 12, and it changed. You know, and you had to
So
change
Northwest still does it.
Does it? Yeah.
Northwest, you put your entry in when you get your confirmation. You put what number you want,
Yeah,
and then they give you back, no, this is your number.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like 27.
But that was
or,
it then. You were just
know.
changing them every week.
Yeah.
So that's why to see old photographs and somebody's the back door of the van, there's all these numbers.
Yes,
Because they stuck.
I right enough, yeah.
And that's why that was.
Yeah.
Back of the transit doors.
Yeah.
All these different wheelie bin numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. That's what used to be on the wheelie bins as well at your grannies, like, because there was always numbers and they
Yes,
just
numbers.
stuck them in the bin just, and then if you're lucky enough, you could peel it off and put it on again.
And so, see, in that like kind of late 80s, early 90s, did both of you then progress to 350s?
Yeah, probably.
We
yeah.
were in, that is to say, I don't know, one full season. I think I'd done 4 races at the end of 85. And then 86 was the full season. I'd got a run in Ivan's 350 towards the end of the year. And then for 87, then I had the 125
And so-
and the...
Why do
350.
you think 350s were so popular in this country at the time?
Proper Grand Prix bike, weren't
They
they?
were,
Yeah.
Were they cheaper than a 250 to run? Or
well, the
what do you think
250
was the-
class then had sort of waved a bit,
It sort of,
and then it come back again about towards the late 87
yeah.
and 88. The 250 class then was coming back again. Yamaha was starting to make the reverse cylinders in 88.
yeah.
And Honda's, so it seemed to really start to come just at that time. The 250
Yes.
class was getting better.
Yeah, they turned them to power valve.
And then
whatnot.
once the 250s was then getting quicker than the 350s, and that was
that's
then,
when
then
they diverted
sort of
that in.
filtered away. But a 350 was
Still a fast motor.
as you were saying, quick bike like.
Yeah, yeah.
But a working man, if you had a good job, he could have bought. If you'd have bought a TZ 350 then, not that I never had a brand new bike, 27 years of race, I never had a new bike. But anyway,
I had one.
if you you could have bought that, you'd have had a Spurs kit, and with that Spurs kit,
Yeah.
with clutches, cylinders,
It was enough to
pistons,
keep you through the
Yeah.
season.
would have kept you going for
Yeah.
2-3 years. Like, so if you could afford to buy a new 350,
Yeah.
you were laughing for 3 or 4 years. Like,
What was your new machine?
I bought a new 125. It would have been 91 off Timmy Allen. Timmy took, I had a wee bike off Joey, and I kept all the bodywork. And then Timmy wanted it for the showroom, and we did a deal for the Joey one. And
On a brand new
I got a
125.
brand
Do you
new
remember how much a brand new 125 91 cost?
I think it would have been about 3.5, maybe 4.
3,500.
Yeah. With
For a
there was a
brand
bit
new.
of a spurt. There was a piston, I think, and ring and a few other wee bits and pieces, but that was it.
And tell me this, see around that time, see the big word sponsorship. Was it prominent then? Was there bike shops helping people, or what was the kind of culture around sponsorship at that time?
Well, you had no TVs in them days.
No,
well,
everything was
to be
black and
honest-
white, wasn't it?
to
Till
be
everything
honest-
came in.
if you'd have got a couple of fellas gathered up
Yeah.
and put their name on the door of the van, you'd be £100 or something
Yeah.
like that.
It was a mates thing, really.
Or the
wasn't it?
calendar was a big
calendar.
thing. If you'd done a calendar.
Yes, and you filled your spots and
But
stuff.
and that was really it. But I mean, I was saying there for 87, I actually sold a wee Yamaha, and I bought an MBA then off Davy. Mm-hmm. And the TZ, bought the TZ 350 of them as well. And I remember going and taking a loan out of
Yeah.
the bank to buy the two bikes.
Mm-hmm.
I was paying that off
was-
for
Are you still paying it off?
2 years.
Just keep topping it up.
In fact,
right.
but that was just that was the way it was. There was no money,
No.
but if somebody did give you, like I rode bikes for people like Davy Beatty were talking there,
Yes.
and John Giffen who owned TZ motorcycles. That was our
John's still
125.
kicking about, isn't he?
And,
Yeah.
yeah. Both
Yeah.
of them still
Still
about.
going, yeah.
But I mean, it was their bike, and that's really the way it was done then anyway.
Yeah.
Somebody gave you the bike, but you were running it. You were still
Yeah,
paying the
yeah.
entries and the fuel and whatever else.
It seemed like that was more of a thing back then. That someone bought you a bike, you ran it, you put fuel, and then hand it back. So it was more like a gentleman's
paid your
agreement type
entries
stuff.
and
There
all that
wasn't
sort of
any
stuff. Aye.
no serious contracts, Jeff.
No,
signatures.
definitely not.
No, it's not.
Definitely not.
Yeah. You just turned up and that was
Yeah.
it, and you raced it and made sure it was okay. And
But then
For
it
the
was
next time.
fun then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of look round the paddocks now, and younger fellas or whatever, and I'm saying, do you know what, them boys aren't having the crack. You only think that because you're an old fella. And I think, but no, they're not laughing,
Yeah,
they're not
everyone's too
cracking.
serious
There's no,
now.
yeah,
And you
and
don't
that's
like
probably why,
grassroots
because
is like far too serious.
there's that much money in it, tied up in it. Yeah, it's
Same with all the
it's
road
all duck
races.
or no dinner, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you have to. You're either
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You hit it on the head there. There's a lot of money tied up just to even basic racing now.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of take it serious. If you, like everyone does,
Yeah.
we're all it's meant to be fun.
Like, how much
Yeah.
is a superbike?
How
Much is your superbike?
Probably, like, to be honest, to build a superbike now, your region's £50,000, like,
yeah.
and that's before you put a tyre on it,
Yeah.
and fuel.
It's
and
not
the
just the
rebuild.
bike. Now, you were asking there about tyres.
Yeah.
It's not just about, like, the tyre bill for a weekend racing now, especially like even in some of your, maybe like your stock 600s as it would have been in BSB. Like I know one guy that was over and he was saying that his, what do you call it for the weekend, running cost was $3,000.
Yeah.
Entries, fuel, Tyres.
Well,
that's it. That's not crash damage or anything else.
in British Supersport at the moment, your tire allocation for a weekend is 5 fronts and 6 rears. And for you to be competitive, you have to have your 5 fronts and 6 rears. And tyres, a set's £400, so I'm not that good at maths, so you can work that out. Like, that's just for rubber. Like, where it's humble to hear that you guys, you just bought your bike and you put a set of tyres on at the start of the year and you went racing. And who's having more fun? Us stressing out about Pirellis or you guys having fun?
We would have had more fun. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And that's what I say. I look at younger fellas and say they're not having the crack that we had.
No.
Like I seen us sitting in the back of vans at races and somebody comes and said, here, you boys are out next.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh shit! Right.
Get the ladders on and
there was no
because the crack was good. There was
no.
It was just different. And
I remember my first time going to Scarborough, and I was buzzing because we were going to have good racing and a bit of crack when it ended. Nothing. The racing was good, and I got my eyes open around there. But see, after going to Red House and all, and Thursday, no place was empty. From me going as a kid with yous lot, remembering maybe 200 people, and
it was brilliant. Like,
back in the day. Like,
and sadly, that everything's changed. But people said, and I said, no, definitely we had the best days.
Yeah,
like the racing now is as good. Like like the short circuit scene here and all the other boys. Like it's hard going. It's good racing. So the racing's is good. But the whole thing is it's all changed, hasn't it? Like, you look back.
That's, you guys, you are cracking away sitting on the sofa here now, right? There wouldn't be many people that I race against that, deep down, you wouldn't be sitting having a crack. You probably went to a bar after your day's racing.
We went as soon as the practice.
Which one are you stopping in?
Yes. I know it's as soon as it's a game.
We'll have a debrief.
It's a debrief.
As the later the night got on, the quicker they got.
Yes. The results got better.
The results got better, and the lap records got broken.
But there was a bit of crack, and it would be like, if something's wrong with your bike, someone says, here, take that in the mine, or whatever. Or if you needed to borrow a clutch, or you needed to, it was just more.
There's more like a camaraderie, wasn't it?
It was more friendly.
You could go and borrow and steal to your heart's content, nearly, and somebody always had something.
Somebody wouldn't have seen you suck to get out for a race, like.
I lent Mark Hanna. I lent him a bike up Mandela. We had the 125 and the 600. I was riding for Davy Glover, and we had the 125 as well. And Mark Hanna, his bike blew up or something in qualifying. Didn't have a bike. He was chasing the championship. I wasn't. Like, and take mine. Go ahead, take mine. Like you imagine.
No, you couldn't do
that with your super bike.
Huh? Yeah. I wouldn't let you spot.
I remember one year at Skerries, my 350 that was wee crack appeared in the hairline crack in the crankcases and wouldn't go wherever. And Michael Topping said, ride my 250, his wee reverse cylinder. I says, right, brilliant, no worry. So we'd fueled it, got it all ready, heading, got it scrutineered, got my numbers on it, whatever. And Michael says, now there's Northwest gearing on it.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Scary. Did you get into third?
I couldn't believe it. See, I remember going off the line and first gear, I thought, really?
Slipping the clutch.
So, flipping hell. It's finished like, but it got a flip.
You're talking about your races and obviously your Northwest and your Ulsters and stuff where you had your real big names. Did any of you ever get starstruck with any names that you were racing against? Or maybe it just didn't have that effect? Maybe just...
obviously when you were going round, like if Kevin Mitchell or something like that come past, you were thinking, sharing the same bit of tarmac, even though maybe 20 mile an hour slower. But there were great times, and that's what I was saying too, whenever we started, like you were in at the deep end.
You were just,
you were lining up with the rest. It was,
you were lining up with your Dunlops and stuff like that.
I think that's where the thing went wrong here in our racing when they started the Clubman's Championship. Because I thought, there was...
It divided them.
Did people
it's just what I call it. I think it was... We're not big enough for a 2-tier championship, but I think what happened, and I'm talking here about spectators and all as well, is you had your road races, your 2 internationals, all your road races in the north, and there was more coming on and on in the south again at that time. There's going to be 5 races in the south. Maybe you had your 6 plus your 2 internationals up here. You had all your short circuits, and then we're going to split that up again into to do club months, not to mention the racing at Mondello. And I think it got to the stage then where people, your spectators and riders, thinking, we can't do all this, you can't do everything here. That's sort of where it got with me at the last as well, with the road racing, where you started dropping the short circuits. Whenever we started, nearly everybody done both.
Yes.
Yeah.
The roadmen done the short circuits, short circuit men done the road, apart from an odd 1 or 2 here and there. And I think once that happened, then there was just too much choice, and people started picking and choosing, and it ended up then that the Clubman's Championship was more popular than the national.
Yes.
You know, and I think.
Do you think that was a bad move at the time?
I think it was a bad move. I do.
You could there is probably a correlation there where like the level of racing probably dropped a wee bit as well, because people weren't learning at a faster rate. As well. They got complacent in what they were doing.
And that was our thing too, as Trevor was saying. If you qualified for a 350 final,
you're a goer.
Even though you maybe finished 28th in it.
But you're still.
But to me, that wasn't too bad out of 90 years. I know, riders.
It was like
you still,
and they were all good, good goers. But
you were saying there,
it was sink or swim.
Yeah.
You had to.
And push starts.
And push starts as well.
It was probably a better kind of pill to swallow if you didn't qualify. You're going home early. Like your day was done at 9:30.
Yeah.
And then sure, that'll give you a bit more determination to try harder.
To try a bit harder.
Yeah.
But no, it was
the circuits and the roads. It was one championship, wasn't it? At one point,
it was a Joe Lindsay championship.
Yeah, Joe Lindsay was a good one.
And your Regal and all that was just the Regal that done the Regal 600 that done the roads on the short circuits.
And the Joe Lindsay
Joe Lindsay was a very popular championship. That was the 350 one, wasn't it?
350.
Because if you look at any old road race in Ireland, just point scores alone, never mind people didn't. There could have been 70, 80 people scored a point. So it just shows how
because you scored on the roads.
It was.
Roads and circuits, like, and it was a good championship, like, and it was
were the road riders as competitive as? Well, you were saying circuit riders did a lot of roads as well. But you know, you have a short circuit rider and a road racer, and you can see the difference between the likes of Michael Dunlop going to Brands Hatch and running the back and then going to TT and winning TTs. Did you get much of that?
Well, we were saying there about the Easter weekend, like everybody was out getting about, because the Cookstown was first road race.
The kickstart of
so everybody was out.
Yeah.
The Easter weekend to get a few laps, get the rust off before they went. And then a lot of them didn't maybe do maybe so many of them. But you know what, as I say, it's looking back and even talking about it now, you think, actually we did. That's the way it was.
You did, and you did pretty bloody well too.
And it was, I mean, your short circuits on your roads at that time, even when we were just before we started racing, but when we were, like anybody in the first 3 rows could have won that.
If you look at some of the old pictures you see now and again on Facebook, you can look at it. I remember looking at a front row, I think it was yesterday, like, and you had Stephen Cullen, you had Joey and Jackie Hughes, there was Martin Barr and Sam McClements, and I'm thinking, that's a hard day's work there, just in its own, you know.
Yeah. In the first row, never mind.
Never mind. And then Billy Guthrie and so on were behind that, and there's Raymond was in there as well. And I'm thinking, imagine riding with them boys, you know.
It was brilliant. And the races were a lot longer then, like the Lecky Road races, maybe only 4 or 5 races in the day.
Yeah.
You had your 125, 200, you had your 250, 350, and normally the 500, whatever was unlimited, so 500 or 750. But and that's all it was. But there were a lot longer races, and that's what I say. Roads closed at 12, racing at 1. Run the races, that was it. And the crowds.
That was another question I wanted to ask. See, at that stage, like obviously you still go to racing now, like, and like you see the crowds there. There is some races do get massive crowds, but see, in that era, was there just like, what was the crowd? What was the spectatorship?
It was unbelievable, Korie, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I was saying, we going to that first race, and I can remember, like, I'm Banbridge, and we were leaving at 6:30 in the morning. The roads was closing at 10.
Yes.
I said, well, 6:30. But if you wanted a decent spot,
you had
to be there.
You had to leave early.
And like, I'm sure you have seen old videos of Colin James and stuff. And I seen one up there the other day. I don't know whether it was the Embassy final or whatever. And the crowds 6 deep, like the whole way down that Sturfenny Street. And
Colin
round the
James is
hairpin.
fantastic at the moment. He has been fantastic the last couple of years. Like, for
there's
All that old stuff.
Yeah.
all that old stuff,
know.
like, that's pre my existence, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's where I do a lot of my
75,
learning and stuff.
76,
And seeing the crowds, and you always see, like, especially the road race ones, you can see like a head pop out of a hedge where you'd never think of, like, health and safety
Yeah.
would,
Yeah.
you know, ban you for life if you've sat there. And
Yeah,
He
that's
posted
exactly
one
right.
there. He posted one there today. I don't know if you've seen it. The Cookstown 91 Cookstown 125.
Right, no, I haven't
Yeah,
seen
coming
it
over
yet.
the top of the hill.
Over the top of the hill.
I was
the
in
one
that.
Were you?
Yeah, actually.
I was trying to
Maybe
pause
one,
it
I'd
to
have
see.
been in that as
Yeah,
well. 125.
and it was a day we were coming out of Stewartstown. There was a wee group of us together, and Aubrey was there, and Stephen Farmer was there, and Farmer slipped off at the finish. And I remember Aubrey coming out of Stewartstown, Herben, going up the hill, and just as you had the clutch out, Aubrey reached across and hit him in the back of the head and told him to, because he was fast in a straight line, but whenever it came to he was
Holding
sitting
them
up. He got in behind us and Aubrey,
Followed you.
and then he fell off in the last lap. He stuck it in the hedge at the Orange Hall, Tully Hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can remember riding around, like, again, late 80s, early 90s, and at the Grand Prix. And like going round the warm-up lap, and you're just crowds.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't, obviously
Yeah.
you weren't looking at them when you were racing, but like going round and,
there was a different atmosphere.
you know, the atmosphere was fantastic.
was
Like,
a day out
it
for
really
everyone,
was.
like.
It really
Yeah.
was.
You didn't go to the temple revival
I?
thing, did you?
Oh no, I was away.
Aye.
So I didn't get to that.
All right.
but-
It was a good day.
Aye.
They done a couple of.
Oh,
they were
right.
had to do two last. but
Corridor, you mean?
Or the corridor, sorry.
Aye.
Aye, they done three. They done three instead.
It was a
It was
fast place.
It was a
like-
great place. But all those road races we loved. So I said, what was your favourite road? Well, Dundrod for
Yeah.
me. That's, and probably most. If you like fast corners, Dundrod's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like the other ones, I loved them all.
Yeah.
They were all
Even the
brilliant. Like the
Northwest.
old, like the old Cookstown,
Oh,
your temple,
the old Mid Antrim.
old Mid Antrim. It was a real long
flip me.
circuit. Like
That was a.
But see, going off, you know, you were saying the 350 is quick bike, but what would they have had? 70 brake, would they have? 80 brake?
If they even did to have that, like,
They didn't have that.
you know,
Like
but
the-
they're still good for 150 plus mile an hour. You know.
Do you think, see all these old races, you're talking about your temple and your corridors and stuff, see the type of stuff we're riding now, do you think there's a place for your old national road races now? Do you think, like, technology's just taken over
Yeah.
what,
You imagine
It's,
a super bike over the temple.
Yeah.
like, do you think it's-
to be honest, some of the roads now, I think it's especially for big bikes. Like
yeah, it's too much.
I got a run on Rand Gibson's BM
You
at
did,
the
yeah.
festival.
He was white.
That's right.
Totally unbelievable.
Was it, like,
Totally unbelievable.
in what way?
What?
This is interesting because, like, obviously you raced for years. When did you quit racing?
2012 was my last race.
2012. What were you racing then?
Well, my last race that year was riding. Never rode a twin before, but I had fell off getting ready to go to Scarborough and racked my shoulder. But anyway, Ryan had promised me running on one of his super twins.
Yes.
It was actually one that Michael Rudder rode at the TT.
Yes, man. Yeah.
And so that my last race.
Yeah.
The first race I ever went to watch was the Ulster Grand Prix.
Yeah.
The first ever road race was Dundrod.
Yeah.
And my last ever one was the Grand
So-
Prix in 2012.
From when you quit racing and the bikes and the stuff there to you rode Ryan Gibson's 2025 BMW, what was it, a complete, you know, fucking minefield like?
But no, missile, but rideable.
Yes. Yeah.
Because with the electronics, I'll tell you the weirdest thing that just shows you how we've come full circle. Because whenever you started racing 125s and 350s, you had to be able to use the clutch.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
you were slipping the clutch all the time at a slow corner.
Yeah.
Them 350s done some collarbones in. But anyway,
They were just like a light switch.
whenever I was
Yeah.
going out, Rand says to me, and he says, well, you know, all these, and to me, I looked at this thing like, and this fancy dash and all on it,
Spaceship,
and like
PlayStation
a bag of
phone.
Skittles out over the handlebars, thinking, what is this doing? And he says, and I says, look, just put it in the most rideable mode or whatever, you know. So put it in, and he says, now don't use the clutch, don't touch the clutch, only for digging in. And I'm thinking, but he says, no, the electronics don't like it. Don't. And every time I was going down about the end of the straight. I don't know what you'd be doing. What would you be doing at the end of the bicycle course straight on a superbike?
You'd probably, on a superbike, you'd be maybe doing 165 mile an hour, 170, like.
So you're sitting up there, and then the first thing you're going to go, as soon as you sit up, oh no, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And you just banging the gears out of it, and you're thinking, this is just totally,
So you would have had a flipper and your quick shifters and all your slipper clutches.
Unbelievable. But I'll tell you a funny story. It was Paddy McColgan and Brandy Lavery. And he says, here, that's not your first time in that. I says, I never rode one in my life. I dead on. He says, here, but he says, you're going into that car. He says, in the back wheel was about 2 foot. And I says, dead on. And then somebody else told me, he says, seriously. And that was like 2 fingers. Yeah. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'll top racks one down in my head. Because I was fucking doing it and I didn't even realise it. But the brakes and everything on them. But so steerable and trackable. They are fantastic. Like, there's no doubt.
You had to go on a superbike, Trevor. You had to go on R1?
Just the R1
Stalker, wasn't it?
Yeah, Stalker for Ian Glenn.
Ian Glenn?
Yeah.
I was actually speaking to Ian Glenn yesterday. He was here.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Ian, I rode his Super Stock.
Is that right? What year would that have been?
2000s, early after Gary had his accident.
That was Gary Jess's or
Gary Jess. It was Gary Jess's accident. Yeah, silver one.
So this was Beacon Security?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's now,
and they were an animal to bike at the time, weren't they?
Yeah, it was just a big, torquey, you just put it in. I rode at the Northwest and you went out of York, you just turned it and the thing just went up the road, like, you know.
Rode at the Northwest?
Yeah.
That would have been an eye-opener.
Yeah, oh, flip me.
Because you were riding the 250.
250 and then the Super Stock, yeah. I rode it at a couple of short circuits and whatnot, like, but it's a lovely thing to ride, like, it was just so grunty.
Yeah.
So it was. It was a good going motorbike.
Just stand it up and...
Oh, yeah.
What was the Northwest like? Oh.
It was an animal, like, you know, because it wasn't a full, but I remember just going down, you know where the bridge is, you know, down that big straight. I remember going down there and it just started waving coming down it and it just got worse and worse and worse going down. And I thought, this is just going to launch me down the middle of the road in about 2 seconds, you know. And it just seemed to shake its head forever. Then it stopped it and then it put a tyre on it and then it was all right because the tyre was probably on it from the start of the year, you know. And I thought, oh, it's better now, you know.
But the like of those places, well, I think I've rode with Stock, like a superbike, that R1 and Paddy's. But the first big one I ever rode, first big bike was an OW1.
That'd have been
big heavy yoke.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, I remember, and the first time I ever rode the R1 was Scarborough.
Oh, flip.
So that was a bit of an eye-opener as well. Nothing like getting in at the deep end. Like.
Trying to get that thing turned.
But
Scarborough,
I couldn't
ridiculous.
believe.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I'm a short circuit man, so like, I have no road racing background.
Like, with the sofa, like,
But is it not just like a go-kart track? Well, scary jumps.
It's narrow.
Yeah. It's narrow. And it's greasy and slippy.
Yeah. And it's been damp at all. There's that many trees and stuff, you know, and it's places where it never really dries out.
Is it even fun to ride around? Like, or
it is
nice.
It just got its own character.
The like of you, if you were ever going to it, you just need to go, right, I'm not going over 80% here.
Yeah.
You could probably go to 80% and win it.
Yeah.
To be fair, you've rode it.
It's not nice when it's wet. Or
no.
And there's a straight on it. Well, they call it, it's a straight, but you can
there's
this kink in it, and you can sort of lean to once, and you can see through it, like, and then at the end of it, if you get it wrong, you know, there's a grass verge, and then there's a fence, and then there's trees, and then there's just down it is a big drop off, like, it's steep, it's steeper. You don't realise how steep it is until you actually ride round. You know, if you do go,
the elevation changes.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. When you're up at the top, and then you're coming back down, you come down like in a zigzag,
and then you come down in that wee fucking hairpin.
Like I've seen the hairpin, like the first corner where like the boys are nearly putting their foot out, like it's that tight, and then you go up the hill, like. But I imagine it's even tighter in real life.
Especially when you're going in with 3 or 4 boys. I remember doing a race at it years ago, and Paul Bird was Supermoto champion, and he was riding the 500 Supermoto, the Honda, and I was riding the 350. And every time into the corner, there was the big leg out, you know.
I remember that was a yellow Supermoto he was riding, wasn't it?
And I thought, I'll get you. Don't you worry, mate, you know. Just come in and give him what for, you know. And then McGuinness was there at the time, and McGuinness, he
was
beat the boss,
You won quite a few races, Scarborough, didn't you?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to win a few forgotten era ones and whatnot, and
it was great crack.
Yeah.
Tell me this, see how like all like the kind of the wee small national road races and stuff you've raced, what was like a wee golden nugget or like a race people forgot about, but was actually a brilliant wee race and a brilliant wee track to ride around? Because there has been a load over the years, like if you think about it.
Again, as I say,
Probably one down south, were
the southern ones were great, but they were all sort of all very stop and go, if you like, you know, like a triangle, the bulk of them, like. But Skerries is.
Skerries probably would have been one of the best.
Probably one of the better ones.
Because you went.
And what made it so good?
Atmosphere.
Just probably the atmosphere and the people, like they're a great club down there, you know. And
they're a big motorbike area. Skerries was always massive for motorbikes, you know, for some reason, just the supporters and the Ulti Ran, Jack
there's some
Korie,
great characters.
The characters that were in the club were really good, you know, and Ulti would have come around, you had this wee green white hat, and Ulti'd been coming around giving you entries and stuff, you know, and he's a big man, you know, big character, and he was just full of crack, and he knew everybody, you know, and he just was...
They're so glad to see you.
Yeah.
See you go down to it. Like.
It seems like there was more characters back then as well.
Oh, everyone.
There is now. I don't know if we're all too polished and stuff now. Because we have spoke about this in podcasts that we want to like speak to guys like yourselves because you've met these characters, these are these characters yourselves.
Got up your mischief.
Just people not give a fuck.
It was. Do you know what it was? Go back. I just drove into the paddock.
Yeah.
Just first gap parked. Didn't matter. Whereas I noticed people when I says no, park over there, or they're sort of I don't want to be near them. I feel like or that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you just
we rocked up
and
and you
everybody
parked. That was it. Yeah.
If you can get parked.
It was
Before we had the crack before the crack sort of thing. Yeah. Jeff was talking. I don't know where you were. I think you were telling people where to go. But Jeff was talking about his van breaking down. And he had to ride.
Which time was that?
When you rode the bike.
I was going to Skerries.
You're going to Skerries and you rode the 350 from Drogheda.
We went to Knock Hill. This was 87. Went there. So like this was my first race. I done the saw in 187 on the 350.
That's right. Yeah.
But we went to Knock Hill. And my brother was there. He was still, because once I started racing, and he bought a 125 and he'd done a bit of racing as well. But anyway, we went to Knock Hill and he was flying. Flying a bit too low. But Christ, anyway. But we're actually going to the boat in Larne. Of course, late lastminute.com, that wasn't even heard of him. But anyway, we're heading to the boat in Larne and I says, here, boys, the temperature gauge going up on this. And I says, and my couple of brothers went, and they went to some races early days, and then sort of that fizzled out a bit. Like, but anyway, we were going this out of van anyway, and I says, what do we do? Do we chance her on here, boys, or stop? Or if we stop, we're going to miss the boat. What do we do? Oh, drive her on. So he said, put a frost plug out.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So, off the boat, and then I was wrapping this door, to see could I get some water, like to put in the radiator. And the next thing, I seen this wee woman looking around the curtain, and the next thing, the police arrived. Probably the van not taxed or anyway. So I said, no, I was just looking for some water or whatever. So anyway, we had to borrow a watering can at some of the filling stations. Luckily inside the van, and that an LT35 Volkswagen. Petrol, you had a sponsorship, you'd have needed a sponsorship deal for it in its own, but they're drunks on petrol, like. But inside, and there was like a wee lid in it, and the radiator cap was there. Thank God, or we would have been totally beat, because the radiator, if you could.
Yeah, had to stop, that was it.
Because it was.
Just going straight out.
Like,
so you were just.
As soon as I was we were putting it in.
It was feeding itself back out.
So like we got a 5 gallon with a jerry can. Anyway, we've got a drum anyway, I can remember that. A watering can, and we had a teapot, there was a wee cooker in her, a wee teapot. So, us in the back, I think John Clark was actually with us.
That's right. Darky.
So we were pouring it out of the watering can, and then from the watering can into the teapot. My brother, he was just constantly pouring it. So we got to Knock Hill anyway. Anyway, my brother crashed, and he broke his collarbone, he broke his ankle. Now you can picture it, he had sort of long hair at the time. I'll never forget it. So he was coming home, anyway, with a foot up on the dash, on the wing like this here. But another time, with the shakes in the road, the water would have hit the fan blade.
Look, he's soaked.
He's drenched.
The time he got to the fucking boat, he's like a Springer Spaniel, that's in the palm of the sea. But anyway, fast forward on to the next year, we're going to Skerries. And the next thing, the light come on the dash, and they're just heating again. Fan belt away on her. And I says, hey boys, I don't care what's got a head and all to put on. I says, I'm not wrecking, should we miss it? I says, I'm not wrecking this engine. So I've got the plan. I says, here boys, tell you what, you stay with the van. Some of you stay with the van. Get the bike out the back. There we were mixing off gas.
The side of the road.
The side of the road. Put it into the 350.
And away.
And a fella stopped in the car and I says, hey mate, but you... So threw the ladders and all that into his car, pulled the helmet on, jumped on her, and away we went.
Way.
And rode her.
How
So
far
rode her
up
to
there?
Skerries. Well, I think it was about...
And that was the
maybe
back
this
way,
side
that
of-
would have been the old road.
No, that was the old road, like.
There was no big
so there's no
So
motorway?
down through,
No, you had to
down
go
through
through
Drogheda
Drogheda
and
and-
Balbriggan and rode out to the circuit. Right? So anyway, I says, you just wheel her on
Yeah.
down the street. Yeah. Wheels her in, your man says, Jesus, he says, the frame's broken, that joint. He goes, oh, God, all right. I thought somebody just run the hacksaw. So broke the fucking frame going.
Broke the frame.
Riding down the road.
But them vans, they were torture breaking down.
Yeah.
And but there was no money.
Imagine,
And
right?
that
Well, she
was
not
it.
a... No, I was going to say it was a bumpy ride home, but sure, you were way to road race. Anyway,
Yeah, you're going to ride around Skerries, so you can imagine, yeah. Well, it was just going to get the worst treatment of its life whenever you went to Skerries. Then Skerries was,
Aye.
flip me, that back road was unbelievable. Like, it used to be, the sidecars raced there back in the 70s.
Was there?
And the sidecars weren't allowed to pass down the back road because it was too narrow. They had to go single file.
Right?
Yeah. It was a bit of a transit van.
Aye.
Like,
They raced them at 4 as well.
yeah, that's right.
And that's why.
Sidecars,
Mad.
a national road race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to race them at Tandragee as well.
Yeah.
Many years ago.
Yeah, many years ago, yeah.
Dundrod would have been fun.
Dundrod would have been,
like.
yeah, it was Grand Prix, like, and it was fairly good, like, but
Was
the
that
race
course ever at the Northwest?
No.
Jock Taylor did a demonstration.
Done a lap
Yeah.
one time, aye, because
Yeah.
I had talked
They
about
talked
it.
about
you
bringing
wondered
it
I
there,
never
yeah. That would have been
I
an
remember
interesting
that.
experience, like,
Wouldn't have made it.
on a TZ 750.
Yeah.
Jesus.
They were
Now right
lethal.
enough.
Yeah.
But you're talking there, with your modern bikes and road
Yeah,
race and
yeah,
stuff and all now, and like those frames, we're talking about 350 frames, so like
They were like,
bicycle frames.
they were like
Yeah.
that there,
You know,
wee
I was
stand.
like a tripod.
That's what it was.
I
aye.
broke one at the temple as well one time, and the only thing was holding the bike together at the end of the race was the steering damper and the cable. That was the only touch cable, and that was
And we
it.
just, like,
It was just out of control.
obviously, like, the way
We're
my
bottoming
race...
out everywhere.
Yeah.
And the tyre coming up through the seat
Aye.
on a 350 used to be a
Yeah.
real good one too. Yeah, it was a nice one to get
Would you
because there was so much travel in them, and the tyre used to hit the bottom and go through the seat eventually.
That was going to be like a question, man. Would you have been doing much? See, like, the way that we do racing is very electronic based now, and suspension, geometry, and offset yokes and stuff. Was there much
Push the tank
modification?
and-
Do you know
Would
what
just
your
bouncy,
suspension
bouncy?
was? You could put her on 2 clicks to the road and tuck it back out. Isn't that right?
That was it. That was
There
all you
was
had.
nothing to play
There's nothing
with.
to do. Like,
They used to get these.
run what you
They used to
brought.
get these wee Kawasaki steering dampers, the wee black ones, and it would have clicked maybe half a dozen clicks, and that was it. And then if it was like that, that was it.
Yeah,
Fully up,
just
you
to
know.
take that.
And then on the rear of a 350, it was just on the spring. There was nothing. It was
Yeah.
just
Mad,
a,
like.
it was just a
Aye,
spring,
it's
and you
just-
just
But I can remember, like, down the roller coaster, you know, the temple circuit,
Yes,
down
yeah,
the
yeah,
back
yeah,
heading
yeah.
back
No,
into
flipping
Saint
out,
Field, like,
yeah.
and I roll them, like, and they were just bottoming out. It's just big wafts of white
Yes.
fiberglass dust, and wallops of them up the hill. But that was
Yeah.
it. That was.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was, like your modern bike now, like you were going out in a race, and you didn't know if you're going to finish it or not. The chances of finishing it was fairly average.
Yeah.
Because ignition's packed up, clutch is
Yeah.
packed up, gearbox is packed up,
up.
frames broke. You know, there's
Mm-hmm.
just so much stuff to go wrong. And obviously seizures, which was
seizures was a big thing.
Was
You
a big
sort of
thing,
yeah.
it
And I hate
wouldn't
'em.
matter. As I said, with all your training, it wouldn't matter how many photographs I see, no matter what I was riding on the 4-stroke, there's always the 2 fingers over the
Clutch.
Oh, yeah.
I
And if you look at
Manly
anybody,
built
you'd always see the
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Mad.
Just to keep it. Did you seize many bikes? I know you did.
I did, aye.
Yeah, I would have seized a few now. Cranks and pistons and stuff like, and yeah, they made a mess like whenever they let go. I remember doing a crank one year at the Northwest on the 250, and then we come back in and over to Uncle Ernie, new crank, put it in before, you know,
The next
in
race.
between the races, and got the crank in because on the 250 you didn't take the engine, you just pulled the side side load, bottom load, and then just put it in the way you went again, you know. And
But that was another thing too that you'd never see now today at race meetings.
You do
You've
an
seen
engine
some
on it.
that had an engine out.
or something laying on its side.
Or something laying on the side, putting a clutch, or whatever.
No.
Well, that was your usual paddock. A 350 was always laying on its side, and you're putting the clutch on it. Because their clutch plates used to smash.
And like, how often would you be putting a clutch into a 350?
If you were hard on the mics, you could be putting plates in every other race or every race.
They broke the plates, you know,
Right,
the dry clutch.
Yeah.
Like.
Or a dry clutch, and then what you used to do was there was always if you could get them, the bronze one in at the back, which was a big strong plate, and it sort of took the shock from the bang.
Yeah.
Big first gear in a 350, and whenever you let the clutch out and it took off, like, flip, you knew about it, like, you know, and there'd be bits of clutch, you'd feel them actually hitting you on the way back.
And tell me this, see, like, going back to that era, do you think racing had more of a family feel to it? Because if you look at even your own family, these
Yeah.
are 3 generations of racers.
Yeah.
3 generations of probably boys raced that fucking TZ, to be honest with you. Like,
Yeah.
Was there more of like a family orientated thing about the paddock as well? Compared
Oh, very
to
much.
There was,
I think,
yeah.
There was a lot of people, you know, like Lenny Ritchie and Trevor, and there was a lot of father-son
Yes.
things. And yes, there would have been.
There would have been, yeah, Geordie.
Because you know what it was? The crack was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
So if you took your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, if she wasn't interested in motorbikes, it'd be a long day for her now.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
then there was a bit of crack, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
It was always good. There was always characters. You said about Lenny Ritchie. Do you remember Lenny making you the tea in the Isle of Man?
I do.
And he
Salt in it instead of sugar.
Lenny the bad stoppage. I nearly wet myself whenever he made. I got coffee or something.
I
he
drunk
had
this tea
tea.
and I thought, what the and then Davey was at him, he says he's trying to sabotage my rider. But he put 2 spoonfuls of salt in
Of
it.
salt on it instead of
Sugar. But there was some great characters.
Yeah, everyone
like
looked
there was,
after everyone.
and
Yeah.
the crack was definitely
Yeah.
good.
Like whenever I was growing up, I know that I was basically strapped to the back of the van.
Yeah.
My dad and Trevor, they went racing, you know, they were on the grid.
Yeah.
I was bungee roped to the
Yeah.
the 7 tow bar.
I remember one year going to Scarborough and I had a big long wheelbase Merc 508, and I think there might have been maybe 10 or 12 bikes in the back of it with riders. This was all saving money. So everybody's van, Stephen Hazlitt and Darren Lindsay and Eddie Graham and all was in it. And I remember old McNally had a wee 208 Merc.
He had a reverser up the
He
hill.
had the reverse,
Sutton Bank, sorry.
Bank, this hill.
Yeah.
And we McNally, it wouldn't go up, and then he had to reverse up this hill, like, and it is some climb, like, in a van, like, you're in the old Merc, you're in the crawler gear, and you just let it tiddle on up the hill, like, and McNally was reversing up it because there was that much weight in the van, and it hadn't the guts to do it.
You're just watching the temperature gauge.
Yeah.
Even.
There are some pretty, like, you know, fond names that you're just McNally and Lindsay and stuff. Some
Yeah.
fantastic riders are still talked about again.
Getting smuggled.
In your opinion, guys, who was like the most underrated rider of your? Maybe that's too
Quite a few.
quite a few.
There was a lot of boys.
Quite a few. There
There's
was
2 of
some-
them sitting here.
Yeah, I know.
some really good riders that I don't think got the credit or
And who do
whatever
you think they would be?
they deserve. Where do you start?
I know,
There's that many.
There was that many. I'm like, but there was some, you know, great fellas too that were lost. Like, you know, you were talking
Yeah.
about Darn and
Yeah.
Guy Dines, and you know, there's. And I don't want to start mentioning names because you miss.
Yeah,
I know.
You miss
Yeah.
some out. Like, but I know on the oil commentary thing, and I suppose, being honest, you know, thinking about ourselves, because I remember you, me, in the temple. Derek Young and you, and then I bought Derek's bike the following
Yeah.
year, and I never really looked at lap times or anything like that. And he came to me, and I just pipped him to the line. But I remember you coming to me and saying, "Here, you were around quicker than Derek Young last."
Yeah.
And it was exact same condition and everything else. I
Yeah.
thought, why was it? He says, no, same condition, and you were quicker. So there's one name.
Yeah.
It was underestimated. Derek
Yeah,
was
Derek
a good.
was-
Derek was a good.
Derek
rider, like.
was a good rider. He's a very good national.
Good. He could
And
ride
good-
any.
yeah.
125.
Mechanic as well.
Yeah, 125. He was another one. 125, 250, 600 big bike.
Yeah.
He's
you
still
know.
like a prominent tuner in there. Maybe
He
he's
still
quiet and
is.
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a real good engineer, and stuff that Derek was doing back in the day. You know, he had the reverse. He had this wee reverse cylinder Yamaha before, you know, a lot of boys had them, you know, the 350, and he turned it around, and he had a belt driven one. Real clever man. His father was a good engineer, and then his big brother was a
Yes,
He's an odd guy, and he's so unassuming as well.
Graham.
He did Grand Prix and stuff, and just was unlucky. And
I seen Graham last week in Lambeg.
yeah,
I near dropped. I was like, is that him? I was going into the spar just.
yeah, he was another top rider. Like, if you even, there's some of the, you would see some old YouTube stuff there, and there was a British Championship race, and there was Smutty, and there was Stephen Cole was in it, and Martin Barr, and I think Graham finished maybe third or fourth in it. It was some big meeting
That was
France.
British Championship level,
Yeah. And those guys were all like, flip me.
Well, Graham was doing Grand Prix.
He was away doing Grand
you know,
Prix.
it's, and Smutty and Donny
Yeah.
as well. You know, Donny was...
That's what we notice from doing this podcast and obviously speaking to more and more people. The amount of talent this country has produced
unbelievable.
from the day dot. Like, do you know the first Grand Prix 250 race winner came from this country? And from there onwards, the amount of talent it's ridiculous.
You know, and even going way back, like Ralph Brands was a
world champion. Grand Prix world, the only Grand
Tommy
Prix world
Robb,
champion.
you know, again, when you look back into the history and when you think of what actually happened in this country, like with when the Ulster Grand Prix was a world championship round, can you imagine that now? Can you imagine
You couldn't.
Mark Marquez
Going
ragging
up
up
there.
at all the
Elbow
grove
down.
like?
You did have Agostini.
You know what I mean?
Elbow down, elbow down.
But we had the equivalent of that then, bit before my time now.
Yes.
But when you look at old photographs, and some of the world's best like has rode round.
And it's always consistently been that as well, though, because obviously we have our Johnny Ray. Everyone knows about that. We've had Eugene Laverty's. We've had plenty of BSB race winners. We've had
right across the board.
Right
I
across
think
the board.
Smutty the first British champion on the 350.
Yeah, he won the, I think he won the,
I
But
think
like there was a
yeah.
string of them after it, like Wolsey Coulter,
yeah.
you know, Adrian
You're
Cox,
British champion.
even gone.
You won a British Championship, didn't you?
The Forgotten Era one, yeah. It was I think that around here, Scarborough, Aberdare, I think as well.
Aberdare Park, that was
That was another.
What do you, in your guys' opinions, because you've obviously been about racing a long time, what is it with this country and riders from it that nearly punch
Way
well
above the
it?
weight.
Yeah. What's
Do you know who have, and a big, quite friendly with him and whatever, we'll always have a chin wag, is James Whittam, and he says that to me all the time. He says, what is it about your place, he says, like, for all the size, like, population
Yeah.
of Birmingham is do you know what I mean?
more than what it
It's
is
the
Northern
same as
Ireland.
what we're here in Northern Ireland. But not just in bikes either, Korie. If you think about it, like if you go back to the days, John Watson, Formula One, all that, you know, and in the cars as well, like Colin Turkington, not to mention the amount of British champions that were in different classes over the years.
Yeah.
And you rode in it yourself, and you know the standard of how difficult that it is.
You
So-
have to scrap that bit harder, I think, you know.
Do you
And I
think
think
it's-
it is. It's just a northern, or it's an Irish or Northern Irish mentality. You just have to get stuck in, you know, and if you want to
get something,
if you want to get something, you have to go and get it. Like I remember, you know, winning a few races here and then going to Scarborough, and you had to sort of like it was Forgotten Era, but you still had to up your game, you know, and you still had guys to beat, you know, and you just sort of right.
So do you think it's more of a mentality thing then, more than anything?
Gloves off.
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly.
Aye. But do you know the sad thing about it is, and I've said this quite a bit, where again, like yourself there, and over the past couple of years, well, I know Mondello was back on again, but it's a totally different sort of thing, different tires, I said.
It's messy.
Again, we're not big enough to have these two-tier things, if you like.
Yeah.
But whenever you, what I say now, you know, just mentioning that, where, as I say, John Watson, Eddie Irvine, and Martin Donnelly and guys have made it into Formula One. Never happened now, like. So not just on the two wheels, but on the four wheels.
It's all money, isn't
What we have produced here, world's best.
Even the technicians
And
as
what
well.
what have we, exactly.
Yeah.
And what have we got? Bishop's Court and Kirkus.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned Jonathan Ray there, and Joey has put Northern Ireland on the map right around the world. And there's nothing there's nothing been put into it, you know.
Yeah.
So for people that can't afford to travel to England and have $3,000 running costs, so if there's two, which there normally is in a month, there's $6,000 running costs. Many people would earn $6,000 a month.
Not many.
Not very many.
No.
So, but for something here, you know, what will have, you would think that the government or something would put a bit of backing in and
Maybe a bit of an incentive or scholarship or something.
something like that. I've said that for many years, where there should be like a one-make series, like these 400 Kawasaki things, what they run in England, or something like that.
Even put a couple of pound into the tracks, and
Or
there's
for a goal for something to encourage younger riders, something for them.
Yep.
And if they win it, that they're basically guaranteed a seat in BSB in some championship or something the following year. But as far as the circuit goes, and I've been through this journey. Davy Beattie, we were asking about how Davy Beattie lived just across the road from me in my young days, and they were the wee road, like 150 yards down the road. That was the test circuit for us.
Yeah.
Brian Reid and them boys in Ram McCulloch, they had the Gall Bog.
They had the Gall Bog.
But the Drumneath Road was our test circuit.
Used to go out jetting the Gall Bog, flipping hell.
But we'd have travelled to the race and all of that. And then Davy, who owned obviously John Giffen and Davy Beattie, and not forgetting Barbara, because Barbara was Barbara and Davy that put the effort. John was, of course, was a partner. But what they tried to do, and they bought it and tried to get it, and there was no help at all. From anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, you know,
we're over-representing ourselves as people in this country, in this sport, and we're not getting off.
So going back where we've only two, so go to England. There's, I don't know, many circuits there is around England. I've rode quite a few of them. And there's some great wee circuits that, you know, that's not on the BSB list or anything like that. But I don't know what they need to do, but I think they need to do something. We need some sort of help from the government or whatever, you know what I mean, to upgrade our circuits or get something in it, because as I say, all our boys has punched well above their weight, and
we deserve something in return.
There's no.
Well, do you think that obviously Stormount's putting up money for the Ulster Grand Prix? Do you think they're kicking a bucket down the road and should they be putting it more into the likes of a scholarship and maybe building the track up better? Bishop's Court's still for sale, so we don't know what that's going to end up, but
I think if anybody that loves road racing would love to see Ulster Grand Prix back. You know, will it happen? I would have serious doubts. I think being realistic, it's a big. I've seen we had Billy Nutt on there, and nobody would know any more about organising a big event than Billy Nutt, and he doesn't seem to think so. Going by that, I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to. I'd just like to see everything, you know,
back the way it was.
Back to something but
do you think it could ever return to that? You know what I mean? Do you think life has moved on?
Life's moved on. Things has changed. Years ago, you know, the British Grand Prix was on the TV, and you maybe had the last Shell Oils 500 round at Brands Hatch. That was your TV. That was your motorbike racing on TV for the year. Whereas now, you
can watch
anything. You've World Superbikes, MotoGP, British Superbikes. There's not much done on a Sunday if you're a motorbike fan about. But so I think there's probably that as well, where people's just like. Whereas years ago you couldn't. If you wanted to see it, you had to go.
So you can watch Northwest. You don't have to get the house.
You watch the TT live stream, all that sort of stuff.
Nearly sitting in the house now than it is sitting, you know.
So to get the crowds back, which is, I think what has happened with motorbike racing. Obviously, you have to be careful what you say. But there was times here when there was a lot of money getting into the sport because you had a lot of spectators. And there was money. Now, where that all went, I don't know. But whenever the thing started to go down the other road, that was the time where something should have been done. And
now they're relying on big name sponsors and you know, TV, BBC putting everything out there. And
the amount of the cost for clubs as well, you know, to put a race on. There's a lot of hidden costs that people knows nothing about. You know, so. Even
the fences around Dundrod.
Well, I think that's kind of. I think that's where the the grant or the money that they're talking from Stormont's coming from. I think it's not like a £400,000 lump that, you know, say do whatever you want with it. It is meant to be like, you know, invoices come back for safety and for, like, so you're talking about your fences over the next 4 years or something. So this number that they're talking about, it's not, you know,
it wouldn't. I don't even think it wouldn't even look like. I went round it there not so long ago, and you would need that place resurfaced.
Yeah. Well, you would know you guys would know better than anyone, like what a track condition or what the track
it's a really
used to be
bad
like, could have been like compared to what it is now.
I would genuinely would love to see it back. Round Dundrod on a sunny day, nothing.
Yeah, it's hard to beat, like,
And I've been lucky enough to ride a lot of circuits around the continent and stuff like that, but Dundrod's.
Yeah.
You had 2 meetings a year, Dundrod.
That was the Calenchi.
You used to have the Calenchi. Yeah, you came back from the TT. You came back from the TT, and then you were straight to the Calenchi.
And if you didn't have an international license, then you thought you're some boy Friday night practice.
I know.
Yeah. that was only race. That time that run Friday night practice. All the rest was all 2 laps.
2 laps. You got a night's practice. You maybe got 4 or 5 laps or whatever. And you thought you were some pup.
I remember you were talking about Derek earlier, and you per Dundrod. You were on the 500. Derek and Trevor, you were on the 350. I think was Derek on the road tax?
Derek was riding the 350, belonged to Trevor Ferguson.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think your silencer or something fell off.
My silencer fell off in the first lap of the second lap, heading up the Deer's Leap, and I just thought, if it's going to seize, it's going to seize. But it didn't. It didn't. It kept going. It finished the race.
Was that the year Paul Carr, Jimmy's dad, was in 750 Yamaha?
No, that was another. That was a different year. There was a big crash at the end of the Flying Kilo, and
John Raybould.
Yeah, Raybould, he fell off. And then that year with Derek and I was a bit of a thing. I remember going into the top of Deer's Leap one time. A 350. The one that we got actually was Martin Ray's, was a Joey bike.
Right. Okay.
And was another, and we had to carry it out of this man's shed because the wheels wouldn't turn. It was sea solid.
Yeah.
And and the frame was in bad shape as well. So I stuck my engine in and rode it like, but the thing was, you could just see, you could feel it and you could see it, the whole front end moving. I thought, this isn't good. And I remember dicing with Derek and then get into the top of the Deer's Leap one lap. And as you go when you come around the top of the Deer's Leap, there's that wee dip. Mm-hmm. And Derek was out to the white line and caught the white line, and it just went right round, and I could see the writing down both sides of the bike. And I thought, if he does,
right there.
I thought that was it. And for a forgotten year, for not a bit of fun, like it was serious, but I thought, flipping heck, this is going to be hard going. And I remember passing him the last lap in round the quarries, the left, riding in round over the top, and I thought, flipping hell.
I never forget my dad shouting. I wasn't allowed in the pit wall, obviously, so I was in behind there. And it was as if everything went silent when Trevor crossed the line, and all I could hear was my dad's roar when he won the race. But I thought you were in the mix with that one.
No,
that was another year.
That was the following year. That was the first year. Actually, I'd bought that RG in the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
And but whatever it was, things was a bit slower then. I was transferring the money over and whatever. I had went over and seen it, and your man says, no, the money's not in. So he won. So
that was the same year.
Monday morning. But I won up in the 500.
Yeah.
That year.
Yeah.
So that must have been the previous year, you and Derek?
Yeah, that'd have been, yeah.
So
there was you and Paul Card, and I remember thinking this is going to be a hard day's work with 2 RG. Was he in an RG?
No, he was a 750 Yamaha. He was an RG the year before.
Because you were complaining about
the
speed.
Long drag down that Flying Kilo in a 350 against an RG or a 750 Yamaha.
Yeah, because he was complaining about the speed of the 750, and you were complaining about the speed
of
the 500.
Yeah.
I'm seeing just off the pair of you guys, right? So the biggest smile that you are having is obviously talking about Dundrod. And, you know, I can just tell from you're road race men, and that's where you're getting your big satisfaction out of.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, yeah. I remember one year, at the Temple, and I think you might have been riding the Yamaha, and I remember going down, the two of us came out of, I can't remember the name of the wee bend, onto where the roller coasters. Now, this is before they put the chicane in.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know if you know the roller coaster at the Temple, but the one at the top of where the gates were, and I remember going up over the top of that, and I remember looking and seeing his rev counter.
Really?
Yeah, and the thing was, he was like this here going out over the top of the hill. So the bike was there, and I was behind him, and I was just looking at I could see the rev counter and the temperature gauge.
I'll tell you a funny one that you've just brought into my head. The first time I rode a 750 Yamaha, as I say, was OW1 at Dundrod. And I'm not that big, like, but you were full of it. But I was actually enjoying it. And Johnny Ray come and he says, "Here, you out not there?" He goes, "I." He says, "I'm telling you," he said, you be careful with that. And I says, "No, it's all right." He says, "Okay, it's all right." He says, "I'm telling you," he says, "once you peel that in, you make sure you're right, because there's no lifting and putting it back." And he was right. It's a big long thing.
Yeah.
But I was heading off out in the race anyway, and Paddy McColgan, Anthony McColgan.
Paddy McColgan.
And Paddy says to me, he says, "Hey, if you see St. Christopher at the Deer's Leap, back her off." So I was saying to myself, anyway, we're getting so fair enough, got it over the leap, and there she come up, and there I can see this thing swinging on the what? It is St. Christopher taped to the front of it. Anyway, sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I was just I'm really enjoying listening to what you are saying. You see it, you're fucking beaming, like, if you know what I mean. And I don't want to get too morbid, but obviously, like, road racing has its reputation, has its things. Like, they just obviously you've probably had friends who you've lost obviously through it, and that's unfortunate life, if you know what I mean. Did the love ever fade, or did it ever, put a sour taste in your mouth, or was it always just still a burning?
Aye, you don't be friendly with people, and they're your mates and all that, and then they're killed, and it's devastated, and probably, I don't know about you, Trevor, but looking back now, I don't know, people say, well, we road racers were selfish and whatever. I don't think we're selfish people, but we are selfish in that.
Yeah, no, you have to be
in that way,
selfish, you know what I mean?
But it's funny how you can blank the thing out. Do you know when you're just a thought?
Well, like a tunnel
It's
vision.
not that you're a hard-hearted person. I'm not far from it. But I don't know why it is, and I look back and I was actually thinking to myself, how did I do that?
Yeah.
Like, you just go back out.
Do you know what I mean?
You were like desensitized to it a bit then, or?
And I remember like going down, pulling the helmet on and going racing. And many time I look back at that now and I think, how the fuck did I do
How did you do that?
And I red hard to win it. Sugar fell off that day. Reverse.
That's
right.
right,
I decided they're going to.
Yeah.
Do you know, and you look back and you think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But going back to those other things like Aubrey Macaulay, like we were reared together.
Yeah.
You know, we raced together and with crack and all that. They got it too. Gary Jess, Darren Lindsay, all fellas that we partied with.
Yeah.
Gary, you could, the list goes on, like, and it's so big. But you always think to yourself, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
It'll never happen to you.
It'll not happen.
It'll not happen to me. I'll be all right.
That was
But when you look back at some of them, it could have happened.
Close calls.
Just as handy, like, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but yet again, motorbike racing gives you the fantastic
well,
opportunity to
that's
meet
it.
these people.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So,
that's exactly
that's
it.
the way you
Like
have to
somebody
look at it.
said to me one time when you raced, he said, "Is it worth it?" Of course, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Is it worth the risk?
Financially, logistically.
I know.
Is it worth the risk? Like if somebody,
Yeah.
if you're going to race, somebody says, "Here, you're going to break your femur now in this race," would you get on it? You'd say, "No, I'll leave her then."
But yet again, on the flip side, if we told you, Geoff, all your racing, would you do it again?
What?
Oh, you
You
would
would.
do it in a heartbeat, yeah.
Would you do it again, Trevor?
Without a doubt, yeah. Without a doubt.
Do you know? And do you know what it is too? You meet a lot of people through it, and I've probably been in countries and whatever that I never would have been in if it hadn't been for motorbikes. Like,
Yeah.
Like I remember going up through Banbridge maybe on a Friday afternoon or a Friday night, and the vans going out of the town was
like
on,
Duffy's Circus.
and you used to stop at the off sales at the top of the hill, and you'd been in there and you'd have got your beer and whatever, and the van loaded up, and you were away out that road, and and there's maybe half a dozen vans heading out, you know,
Brilliant.
on any Friday
At
going
one
to a
stage
race.
in Banbridge, they could have run a race of their own.
Yeah.
There was that many boys round Banbridge that raced.
The race it,
Yeah.
You still dabble in it a wee bit, but
No, I
recently-
just do the parade laps now.
right.
Just go
like
out
you were in
and do
Spa
that.
and
Didn't you ride the 125 up through the town one time?
I talking about money. So I had a fate worse than death. Fate 127.
Fix it after tea.
And I sold it. I'll tell you what it was. I can remember it well. There was a fella called at the house. And this is just before Easter, and I was getting the bikes ready or whatever, and I needed tyres for the 350. And I says to myself, do you know what, I'll van. I think at this time it started taxing them then.
Right.
Now you got the battle in them a bit. But anyway, and I thought, I've no money, so I'll just sell it out of car. I'll sell the car and I'll get the entry. And then, it was actually John Clark was out that day. And I says, hey, he's changing the motor, Geoff. I says, yes, to entry fees and a couple of tires. So I sold it, but I had no thing anyway. But anyway, this day I was going in, actually going in to get my hair was hanging around. I was going in to get my hair
Haircut, that's right.
And Davy Beatty's shop was up Refining Street, TZ, Davy and John's. So I thought, well, I'm not going to walk in like
Or get a bus.
So I fired the wee 125 up and just rode her into the town, parked her up,
Get your hair
cut my hair cut and go back down, jumped on her and back out the
used to go into John's shop, and I was in one day, and Aubrey was sitting on the chair. There was a bit of a counter around, and Aubrey was sitting, and there was the lights, the strobe light. I said, Aubrey, I said, what are you doing, Aubrey? He says, just checking the tax and PSV. So we had them taped on.
So the writing would fade.
The right. But in those days, the hand wrote them.
Yes.
So Aubrey was doing his own
He's forging
PSV.
them.
He was putting another year on it, but he'd tape it to the light and it faded it. And
Yeah.
Mad.
You wouldn't get away with any of that now. Like.
No, as I say, those definitely were the days.
Yeah.
Those definitely the days.
I need characters like Aubrey. I remember one, I don't know whether it was you or Aubrey, put the loaf of bread, or put bread on Johnny Ray's motorhome or caravan at Skerries.
No, not me. It must have been him.
Oh,
And the seagulls came
Right.
during the night, early in the morning, and they
And
were
tortured him.
And they were battering off it. And I remember Johnny coming out and he wasn't afraid.
I'm probably Lennon and Van. You thought they're Harrier jump jets.
Tell me this, man. I'll go with you first, Trevor. And you're going to be next, obviously. Like, but what is your proudest racing achievement,
Proudest?
or your greatest, or
Oh, flipping hell. I don't suppose winning a race, winning any race.
winning any race?
To
Is
win
there one
any
that
race
stands
was
out for you?
just. I won the Cookstown one year, I think, and McMaster fell off in practice and broke his hip, I think. And then it was a bit of a free for all then, because it could have been anybody from 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And I remember getting a real bad start, and it was coming back towards Tully Hogue, the sand holes, and it was that big road out there. And then we're coming out, and I think I had caught them, caught RJ and all, and there's a big left-hander, and then you went down to the Herbert, and I remember coming into that left-hander thinking, I am not getting stopped. And there was a gate open into a field and down through the farmyard, and I thought, I'm going down, that's where I'm going. And I put the thing in its side, and I remember my foot coming off the peg, and I took the sole of my boot off, and I flipping got it pulled up and round the grass verge and got it in and round, and I won it not by much anyway. And then I was walking down the road, and Davy Beatty says, you haven't put an entry in for May Day Monday? And I says, right, I'll go. And I went, and I won the Norman Brown 350 race with, it was Michael Swan, Nigel Moore and me, and I think maybe Gary Fleming.
Really quick operators, like.
And I rid hard to flipping.
Yeah.
It was a hard day's work, but that was 2 wins.
In 2
Saturday,
days.
in 2 days.
Yeah.
But any win, to win anywhere,
Yeah.
was hard work.
Yeah.
Like I remember winning a race at Aberdeen with Bob Price and Bob
He
Heath,
was a goer. Both of them scores.
and I was riding. It was a 350 Forgotten Air race.
Bob Heath.
Bob Heath, the
that-
visor.
is that the visor
yeah,
guy?
that's the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
guy, yeah. And he used to ride these Sealies, single cylinder things, and could he fly? And
Yeah.
I remember he was parked at Aberdeen, nearly just where you went out, and he had this Renault van with the Bob Heath on it, and I was going, why is he sitting? He sat in the van. It was a real scorching day. I didn't realise he had aircon in the van, and he just sat and he just got out of the van and put the helmet on, not a bead of sweat, and I fucking You know,
sweat.
sweating, roping off me, getting on the bike and then going around Aberdare. Have you ever been? No.
No, it's in Wales, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like a
Oh,
park.
flipping hell.
Like
It's
riding
scary,
around
like,
Lurgan
you know.
Park.
Lurgan Park.
I rode your 250.
It's like Lurgan Park.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And the tree, if you go, I crashed out it once coming back towards the start and finish, and I missed the trees, I couldn't believe, and I slid in backwards through these trees. You know, there was bales, a line of bales around the track.
Is it like a forest park, is it?
It's just like a
park.
park you'd walk around. You wouldn't think you'd race
Wallace Park.
motorbikes around it.
Is that
used to
right?
race motorbikes
It's
around
like
it,
Wallace
then-
Park.
Yeah, but it
Hillsborough
was
Park,
probably
wasn't
like narrow, like
full of trees.
but full
Yeah.
of trees all the way around it. And I remember going in backwards in one race, and then I beat them in the second race. But flipping hell, talk about two hard men, like the
Yeah.
the beat.
You had a
know.
scratch to get
Oh,
it,
I
like.
had to scratch that day, like flipping hell.
Yeah.
My work was cut out.
You enjoyed Aberdare, but
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just
Good atmosphere.
Yeah, good atmosphere, good wee club. It was run by miners. It was the last deep coal mine working in the UK.
Oh, I thought you ran by children or something there, but
miners.
So they run it, and the trophies were made of coal and
They were
stuff.
all made of coal.
Yeah, lovely
Oh,
big trophies.
So those are-
man,
just to get a trophy from it, you know,
Yeah.
that's all anybody wanted, you know, to
Yeah.
get these real special trophies like. But
That's
beating
still
them
running,
too.
isn't it?
yeah, it's
Yes.
those, yeah.
Still running.
Remember going on the tour and all down in the mines?
Yeah, it took us down the mines and stuff. Yeah, really.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, they're really
That'd
good
be
bunch.
cool.
Like, but flip, you had to ride hard round there. Remember you riding my 250 around it.
yeah.
But it was just a good social weekend.
Yeah.
So,
Geoff,
what was the question again?
So the question is, what's your proudest racing achievement?
Not the TT in 2000 anyway, but
Are we going to skip it?
I would
the
just skip
elephant
it.
in the room.
Don't worry. But well, I raced for 27 years. So,
Yes.
and there's times I'd probably, you know, maybe wasn't riding out well, or I wasn't blessed with good machinery. And you've heard us talking probably here a lot about 250 and 350 stuff like that. But I would probably say one of my best races was at Jadine in Belgium. And I rode. Do you remember the guy Palmer that rode the
Yeah.
250? Real good going English fella. And that was probably one of my best races.
Oh, Chris
I just
Powell,
got it on the line, and that happened to me twice the other time. Was Robbie Phillips, who was
Yeah, Robbie Full 750. Yes.
World
Aussie,
Superbike. Yeah. Well, I beat him in his own backyard at Phillip Island.
Did you?
By the same thing on Steve Bohm's 350.
Steve Jones.
But like,
That's another,
I
yeah.
know some of this classic stuff we done. When I say classic, I don't mean like the real old stuff. I'm talking about the TZ stuff. Like when we done the ICGP Championship, and these boys was all ex Grand Prix, man.
Yeah, I remember
you
being.
don't
Ian,
rate it,
Ian,
you don't lose
Ian,
it.
Ian Simpson. These boys don't lose it.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to win a few championships legally. And that's the problem. This thing with the TT, you know,
Yeah.
we're talking about stuff now. I'm trying to think about stuff. And unfortunately, that's the only thing I've ever remembered for. But I did have some successes previous to that. We're talking about the Joe Lindsay Championship. I won it one year, and I won a couple of odd championships in the continent. Which, which nobody
It's no
probably
mean
knows.
feat at all. Like.
So the French Endurance Championship we won. Finished third in that ICGP behind John Paul Lequant. You remember him, French guy, rode World Endurance stuff, all that too. And Ian Simpson. Simpson, some pilot like.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was.
He did that. See
year.
the level them boys riding up in Lee Gurley and boys like that. So to finish third in a European Championship was nice.
Eric Sauls, right?
Eric Saul rides in it as well.
Yeah.
Guy Batten,
Yeah.
Bruno Canoibler. There's loads of boys. This is all ex
operators, like.
World Champion Grand Prix riders.
Well, you're talking like the level, like Ian Simpson. Sure, he was like your equivalent to British Superbike champion. Like,
Yeah, he
so,
was.
Yeah.
And like,
Well, he won 5 British Championships and 3 TTs
That's right.
on results at Northwest and Grand Prix and stuff. And a real down to earth, him and his dad, Bill.
Yeah.
And the crack, because him and me sort of worked together because all the rest were like French, German, Dutch, you know, and a lot of English fellas rode in it too. Like, but it's brilliant old championship, but them boys rode hard.
Yeah.
They rode hard.
Yeah, I
like,
had
so-
a ding dong with Eric Saul in France one time and was lucky enough to beat him twice, like, but you talk about a hard rider.
hardcore.
Hard,
But it was good fun.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, so it was good to do that. But I mean, I could just really hold on. It's hard to pick stuff out of it, you know. But
And did you enjoy your racing?
definitely,
Yeah.
Without a doubt,
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Some
the
good
com-
laughs
the-
and
I would
some mischief.
Yeah.
could write a book. Seriously, you know.
That's the
but-
thing with these podcasts, we try not to, but we nearly have to skim over the whole surface. You know what I mean? Where I'm sure you have stories that could be 2 hours long.
Stole his caravan one time. Was it your caravan or was it the...
Obviously, have to listen to that.
No, it was... again, McColgan was involved in that as well.
we had a Yugo Zastava. Jeffrey's van was parked in Skerries with, I think it might have been Philip Martin's, the Brat's caravan, was it?
No, it was my
Was it your caravan?
thing, it was like somebody got out of heartbeat.
So we took it.
But my van didn't lock. Before he tells you the story, my van didn't lock, and I thought, right, leather's helmet, all the stuff, put it into the caravan, lock it. So he comes out of the pub anyway, and I goes, oh, fuck, what? The van.
We're walking down the street, and
he says, what about it? I says, there's no fucking caravan on it. He goes, everything I have is in the caravan.
So Paddy McColgan and I had hooked it off and put it on the back of Paddy's car, which was a Yugo Zastava. And Paddy had put a tow bar on it. Mm-hmm. So the tow bar was put on with spouting bolts up through the floor. And we were going up through the Skerries. There's a place called the Tunnel in Skerries.
Yes.
And the caravan was doing this, and the floor was weaving up and down because the tow bar. So we got it into the paddock and hit it. Then we went back to the pub, met them in the pub, came out, and then we owned up that it was us at the finish up. So we went back to the paddock.
The night we stole McLofthouse's bike.
That was the day. That was the night. McLofthouse was there and got really drunk, and
I brought him up in the van.
Yeah. So we got him back, put Lofthouse to bed, and then Jeffrey was sitting on the 250 in the awning. So we'll take her out. So he was on, and I was pushing him across the paddock, and then he drops the clutch.
He had never been in Ireland before.
No, this was his first time. Yeah, and then
so he ended up full of Guinness.
This is McLeodhouse, like
British
Super Cup.
Yeah. That was him.
So
he was
took
riding
his
for Dennis
bike and put
Trollope.
it in his tent.
Yeah, and there's one too, and he woke up in the morning, no bikes.
Freaking out, hanging. But he went out and won.
Yeah, that's right.
And he beat all them boys. 125 wasn't it?
Yeah, 125. Yeah.
He was a really quick.
He was a good lad.
Like, good lad. And he got so drunk, like it was just. But he had some sweat on him. He was thinking of ringing Dennis Trollope and saying Dennis at 250's been stolen.
But that was the sort of thing was done. That old caravan, somebody bought it. It was Richard Rawson bought it. And what they done was, he was in the pub and they turned it round and they got a roll of black insulating tape and taped out as if it was a door. They come out with full. Couldn't work out, I couldn't get the door open. That was just spun around. But that was the sort of
I can listen to these stories all day.
It was a laugh.
Your MBA ended in the skip one year. The
Northwest, I come back walking down the paddock and there, but Davy's MBA, I think it had seized or something, wasn't it? And there they had it in the skip.
Jesus Christ.
The skip was empty, they just lifted it right over and wheeled it down. We were coming back to start loading up, no bike.
You sort of got away with that sort of.
But the crack was good. Yeah, it definitely was good.
Would you be going back out again or
to
play?
Well,
you'll be going out in the classic festival.
You'll be able to get the 350 out now.
I'd like to get it out for a run, just to have a bit of a spin on it now to see. There's a whole palaver now about getting a license, apparently, isn't it? You have to do.
Not for parades
and stuff. Yeah,
it's okay. But you're bound to notice, Korie, yourself, the classic bike festival.
Oh, it's awesome.
With the crowds that go to that.
Yeah.
So it shows you just how much passion there is for that sort of era.
It is a festival, but and it's organised well and it's advertised and
it's a brilliant weekend.
There's an effort being put into it,
And you got to run. Thanks to myself, even if it's yourself. On Barry Sheen's 500 RG.
That is going to be one of the maddest experiences of my life. I do have to thank you for it.
No, you don't. Not at all.
Because if it wasn't for you introducing me to the right people and stuff.
But they're nice fellas.
But there is, especially, see people my age, you see Cal Raid, Storm Stacey, people like that. There is now an influx of people having interest in classic bikes. We are, because it's not our era, we're interested in it because it's fresh to us.
Kyle Ride's a big two-stroke man.
He's a big two-stroke. He's riding about in TZs at the moment. There is Rory Skinner as well. He rides about.
Apparently he's coming.
He's coming. He has an Aprilia and he has over two strokes. there's a new influx, and we'll have to thank guys like yourselves who are actually doing these, bringing these bikes out, giving us an opportunity to ride them.
Maybe we could do the old switcheroo.
Yeah, sure, you can ride my
I could
ZX10.
ride the 500.
Well, there was another thing I got a spin on was Tom Sykes' ZX10.
Yes.
Chris owns it.
That's
right.
That's a lovely bike.
That's
Real
a
small,
nice,
like, or
nice
something.
thing, but really, really small.
Yeah.
I couldn't get over the size.
What do you think of the RG
Mental.
2-stroke? Just
It was the only way I can explain it, right? So obviously, like the superbike that I ride now probably has, twice the power.
yeah.
But this thing gave me twice the experience. So I see from like 30 mile an hour to 60 mile an hour, I could feel every weld in the frame. See the vibrations, seeing the and see like these Avon 18-inch wheels and how it turns. The fucking terrible brakes.
Yeah.
But it was like the character of it, if you know what I mean. It was the first time in a long time where I've rode a bike without, an action or an urge. Like, I'm not going out to be competitive. I'm going out to enjoy a bike for what it is. And it was like a really humbling experience, if you know what I mean? Because for one, I don't know how the fuck I rode them so fast. For two, it was mental to see, like, that was the bike of its time. And three, it was just the history and the kind of everything surrounding the bike. It's something I'll not forget. You know what I mean?
Imagine
And I'll not appreciate it more.
When you think of you say about how hard they were rid back then, like when you think Tom Hearn Northwest 127
Listen,
point.
it's if anything, it's give me more appreciation for the talent of them guys. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're saying, because you know what? We been having crack, like maybe when we got up to the reverse cylinder days and that sort of stuff, and boys said to me, you young boys don't know nothing about it. You want to be riding when we were riding.
Yeah.
And they're going,
you're full of shit.
and then you're saying drum brakes and twin shocks, there's no suspension, no brakes, didn't steer, done nothing. And I remember thinking, fuck, I'll take a ride in that to see. And I got on exactly what you're saying, and you've done it, and I actually enjoyed it, And I thought to myself, you know what, this is about old crack. I've done a load of classic racing on the wee Suzuki.
Yeah.
That's right, That was good.
And I can remember, as you're saying there, you didn't appreciate I was lucky enough won the Manx on it. I remember the bottom of the 13th milestone, go around there, and it on its side with the camber of the road there.
Yeah.
And the front wheel was just going like that there, right across the road. Like, I was just, talk about chatter. We boys at chatter now. Like, it's like, you see what a big drum brake, like, just like a jackhammer going across the road. And after about a lap and a half,
no brake,
brakes was faded.
That's
and I thought to
thing
myself,
I appreciate from you guys. I've seen
take your hat off to the boys at Hillwood and guys like that there that was riding, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, it just
Weekend.
shows the pure class of the rider that they were. See, when you get someone like, I don't think I'm a half bad operator, but I couldn't even get my knee down on this thing. Where you're seeing photos of, Barry Sheen, obviously
Sideways.
the thing banked, if you know what I mean, knee down. And you're
And the old
freaking-
tires then, them
and the
lay
tires
aren't that bad, they do.
There's a lead.
They're not
I don't
bad,
know.
like, but the tires back then would have
We've been like a table.
There's been
no,
But as you go through the whole thing, I watched the thing a while back in Stanley Woods, like, and that's way back in the
40s.
and again, when you leave and look at the speeds that they were doing,
when you look at
things like
yeah.
that, and the state of the roads and the state of the
Yeah.
bikes, and everything, you think,
And the shitty
like it
tires.
was always fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's,
Like ours, that's why I love riding that 350. Certain tracks I love riding the 350. Because the last year I done Dundrod on it. Sean Anderson was behind me. Behind me on a 250 Honda.
Yeah.
So that wee 350 at ours quick.
Yeah.
And we pulled, it was qualifying. And we were together the whole week, and pulled in. Sean says to me and my dad, says, that thing's completely sideways everywhere. Everywhere you go on that is sideways. And my dad looked at me and says, what the fuck way are you riding it? I said, I don't know.
It's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Because the chassis was twisting and all that much that probably with the weight of me on it didn't help me either. Like,
Doesn't help at all.
but that, it just looked as if it was going sideways, going into the corner, right?
We
It did
actually-
end up going sideways out of the corner. a wee bit
those
too
things
much,
was road hard. Like, they got our 350, like, even before we started, 250s, 350s, like they were.
It was a hard class.
They were hard classes, like.
Yeah.
Like talking about going back to the Grand Prix the first time with my experience, I was thinking, was that them all? No, there was an odd, like there was something like 70 starters or something.
70 starters at the Grand. I remember
the Ulster Grand
one
Prix.
year. Remember, it used to be paid in Swiss francs at Dundrod.
Formula One, and
What?
Formula
Yeah,
Two.
it used to be the Formula One and Formula when it was
I suppose it was the FAM's
FAM,
currency then,
you know, and it was all paid out in Swiss francs and stuff. And I remember it used to get paid way back to 20th plus place and stuff, you know, because it was a World Championship round and they had to. It was like the TT. You had to. I remember whenever we were doing the TT, you got your. This is how long ago, like. We got petrol vouchers. You remember getting the petrol vouchers, and then you got your qualifying money. Once you'd done your 4 laps or your 6 laps, whatever it was, you got your qualifying money, and then when you finished the race, you got your prize money. You know, so everybody.
Everyone was getting.
Everybody was getting money. Not sure what it's like now, but at least you got something to pay for food and beer.
I remember I was down to the bank.
You got your check and
got our cash.
Aye, before you even got home.
Well, it was spent probably before you know. Down to Clive Paget or back to Ernie Coates with it.
Well,
that was the way it was done. Just and it was just hand to mouth like.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
was that?
Right,
Well,
guys,
I
we're
think-
probably at the 2-hour mark. I think we're ready for the big question. Do you want
We
to
are
shoot
ready for a
away?
big question. Right.
Right, as we do this with all of our guests.
Right, okay.
Yep. We'll go with Trevor first. Will we?
Yes,
Trevor, who's the biggest head case you've ever met?
the biggest nutbag you've ever met in
Biggest
racing.
nutbag.
In racing, as in on the track or just a lunatic
Just a character you've met through racing.
Flip me. There's quite a few of them. Like there's some of them aren't here anymore. One of them would have been the late Aubrey Macaulay, and I would say a certain Paddy McColgan.
That was what I was going to say. He has
He's
the
been-
biggest nut job.
He's been mentioned
Yes,
quite a lot.
Oh, has he? Aye.
Quite a lot, yeah.
I've noticed, that was going to be mine.
Yeah. Any Paddy McColgan stories, PG, kind of, we don't want to get
don't have to
cancelled
go
off
PG,
YouTube.
Do you know what about him? I'll tell you what about it, why this happened, and I'm so grateful to him, to be honest, because I got to ride a lot of bikes I never would have got.
Yeah.
And he had a phone to me, here, do you want to ride that bike? Do you want to ride the Grand Prix? So I don't know why Paddy didn't maybe like Dundrod. A lot of guys didn't like Dundrod. If you're like a start-stop, short thing, Dundrod wasn't for you. Whereas I think if you like Dundrod, you could ride anywhere, if you know what I mean. But it didn't seem to work that way. So he would have phoned me and asked me about that stuff. Do you want to ride this? So certainly, I was his man. But anyway, we were going to the Grand Prix, and he phoned me. I was actually sitting up at the Belfast Road from Nuts Corner, and it was lashing rain, and the phone rang. Mobiles were out at this stage. He says, "Here, boy, just thinking, do you want to ride that CBR of mine?" And I said, "Paddy, it's absolutely lashing here. I've no entry in, no nothing." And I says, "Look, I've had enough time off this time." I think it was 96. So anyway, he says, "Look, I'll bring her up to the fella had actually damaged my lorry, the site that we're working on." So, and I'm down, I says, "Here, mate," I says, "Do you remember you wrecked the whole tail door and that?" "Aye, mate, I sorry." The boy was in the digger, like, I think, in the horrors. But anyway, I says, "You can pull me." I says, "What's that?" I says, "Just you sign the book there." I says, "I'm going to race the Grand Prix." So Paddy went by, I just got an entry on the day, lucky enough. But there was the super sport class and the regal class.
Yeah.
So there was Dennis McCulloch was riding Big Eddie's bike. Stephen Ferguson. And there was I was third quickest on this thing of Paddy's. And it didn't even, the Power Commander, whatever they put on.
Yeah.
Paddy had lent it to somebody. In fact, I actually think it could have been Joey or something had lent it this Power Commander. Anyway, so the thing was totally bog standard. Come back to the tyres, there was Pirelli Dragons on it.
Right.
Class. Disc finders.
With a lip, on the edge of the
Yeah.
tread. So there I was on the Saturday morning of the Grand Prix. Was Stanley Blade. And these people was
lipping them.
Sure, man, out there. This must be a track of the train. The fucking tire was dumb. So I was ready to go. And I says, "Here, Paddy, do you know what?" I says, "I've never actually started, apart from just tiddling down." And he says, "Just fucking rev it and drop the clutch." So there I was anyway. So all the super sport bikes and all was first group, and then all the regal ones. dead on, there I was sitting full of revs. It was actually on the TV. She was straight like got up on me hanging. I haven't got it down again. I'm way up it again. I was the last man down the flying kilo.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, you are one stupid bastard. And I just thought, that's fuck now. Like. So anyway, suppose I was tampering and I said, right, come on. So anyway, away it goes. I remember coming up and that was the first time in practice at the Grand Prix where I could take Bador flat. Mm-hmm. And it was some going to do it like it was one of them. Yeah. For a couple of times. See, once it's like everything else. Once you do it once or twice, you sort of do it. But I remember coming up, there's Ronnie McAllister and Dave Williams, the pilot, these boys, and they're half steaming up there. Again, probably an old camper going. And the next thing, they when eased off in the middle of it, and me coming pinned.
Oh, shit.
Anyway, go through that, motors on, and coming down to the hairpin, and I'm thinking, no last lap flag, has to be another lap. Coming down to the hairpin, John Donnan and his boy Scott King, he was a good core Welsh boy.
That's right, yeah.
And there were two black bikes, John's bike.
Yeah, black Yamaha. Yeah.
And I remember coming in and done the two of them, because I knew that they were in or around 5th or 6th quickest in practice. Done the two of them, and John let the brakes off. Now I had to run wide. But anyway, your man King, he got round the hairpin in front of me, and I was coming down, and the fucking thing was on its side. And I'm thinking, will it go further? And I says, there's another lap. And around it goes, and there was a checker flag. Oh. And he just got me by that. And I never was as disappointed or as crossed my life. But they're saying about Paddy, some of the bikes he'd lent me, and the God OW1, that was his. Mm-hmm. And loads of different stuff, and the R1, the R6 and all. So he was more than good to me with bikes, and that 740 Ducati and stuff that we'd run. So he's been really good. I wouldn't have rode half the bike, so I know what you're saying. Whenever you get a run on something, it's good. But I've been like a child in a sweetie shop, really.
Yeah.
You know, Paddy McColgan is the live wire.
And he had everything. So yes, Paddy definitely is the biggest.
Yeah, I had
chase we've ever met.
Guys, thank you very much.
He just didn't know what was going to happen, it was just that something was always going to happen. I think we actually got arrested in my stag night actually in Banbridge. Right, Paddy was involved in it too. Yeah, right. Ended up in the police station.
Are you allowed to say what happened, or
it was just
it was just a boxing match. Just
all right.
I was with Paddy. I remember coming out. That's right. Yeah, well, I'll put that on there. Anyway, I'll tell you as a cracker before we do go. Going to Scarborough, and I says, Paddy and me was going, and I won the Royal Championship, Scarborough Championship that year, right? And somebody was saying, "Yeah, how many fucking championships?" And I says, "You know, I don't know." And I counted them up. I think it was 5 over the years.
Holy shit!
All different ones, like. But anyway, so it says to Paddy, right, we're going to Scarborough. Skerries was on the Saturday. I'm not exaggerating about this. Do you know the right-hander before you go to the hairpin? Yeah. And I come down, but I just miscued on the old stony road, you know. There it went. I was going around on right-hander like the fucking wall of death. Even the marshal were on. The marshal were on. But I got her back down onto the road again, got her stopped the way we went. And that was the last lap. So I says to Paddy, Francie Everard's letting us out here now, so be ready to go. It was like something of the Dukes of Hazzard. I ride her into the paddock, he had the ramp and all out, rode her into the back of the van, stopped her, put the straps on her, fired the ramp and closed the door. And he drove out there, I was getting changed, going up the road.
Yeah. On the way to the boat. Yeah.
I went on the side then. That 5 weight.
Yeah.
So we're heading up the S75 in the next fucking thing. Bang. Boom, 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 boom. Oh. Front wheel, front tire blew off. He goes, fuck's sake, Paddy, going fuck's sake. He says, if you spare, I says, what do you think? Sick, what am I going to do?
I actually remember he was rocking up, yeah.
So anyway, I did have a jack and a socket set. So I get the front wheel off her anyway. And he says, what am I going to do? I says, well, there's 4 wheels in the back of her, like.
Yeah.
So I'll go with 3.
Yeah.
So takes that, gets one of the back wheels off, screws it onto the front.
And away we went.
And Paddy says, what are you doing? I says, well, that is just going to wallop the whole way. He says, we need to take the tire off and just put the rim on.
Yes.
And then put the wheel out onto the outside. So the tire was, was lying up on the hedge and it was there for about 2 years. But the laugh was with Paddy talking about him, but I had her. I'm not much better myself.
But that actually happened to us. We were going to Akadui one day, so you were riding. It was Easter Saturday, and we left your house, and we got to Nuts Corner in your van, and we had a puncher, and then we got 2 punchers going to Akadui, and we had to do the exact same thing. And we put the wheels on, and the tires were flat, and just drove on. And got the Akadui, and the smell of the rubber. And I remember Joey coming over and looking at it, but he stood and he just shook his head. He had his foot against him doing this here. He said, "Where did this happen?" Nice, Nuts Corner.
Well, we gets to Scarborough anyway the next morning, and we drove the most of the night. And up the next morning, wheels the bike down, and then I think it was a lady scooting here. He said, "Bloody hell, what's fuck back there?" I looked, that was the first I had seen it really. There was sods and sticks and everything.
Stuck in the fur.
Oh dear.
Class.
But what you done?
Awesome,
You put
guys.
yourself through to do it but no, I wouldn't put that on.
Hey guys, thank you very much.
Not a bother.
Yes, thanks very much.
I have to go to Market Hill now. What time of the day is it?
4 o'clock.
Oh, we're dead on.
We're all right, yeah.
Spot on. We're going up the depths where they're going out with them tonight.
Brap Moto are proud sponsors of Camaraderie Corner. Located at 5 Lisburn Road, Moira, the former Motor Shocks building, this is the place to go for something different. Only open 2 hours a week to the public, Wednesday 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. Everyone is very welcome to drop in and check out the weekly change in stock, ranging from mopeds to fireblades. Davey from Brap Moto is looking for all types of motorbikes, vintage, classic, sports bikes, to damaged end-of-life bikes for dismantling. Also job lots of bike spares. Top cash prices paid, in particular looking for good, clean road bikes of any age. Brap Moto is proud to support many racers on the roads and the short circuits.